Hi guys, hope you're well. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to make the most delicious all-in-one veggie pasta, full of the good stuff, 4 of your 5 fruit and veggie day in one dish. Turn this pan on. We're gonna go in with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna be heroing sweet peppers. Just give them a little wash. And simply stick your thumb, right, like that, and then tear it apart. And then what we'll do is take out the stalk and the seeds and any of the kind of white seedy parts and just put that to one side. So just carefully slice up all the peppers. We'll go into the pan here. So in we go. Look at that, look at the color. Get yourself a little spoon, give it a mix up, and then on to the next veg. So a couple of nice red onions. You could use white onions. Peel those. Take the ends off, half them, and then we're going to finely slice them. Get those lovely red onions into the pan. So 2 veg down. Next up, get your courgettes, take the ends off, and then cut them in half. Again, sort of finely sliced. As you prep each vegetable, you're just adding it into the pan like that. So next up, garlic. And for this recipe, 4 cloves of garlic. This is going to be absolutely delicious. What I want to do now is cook it down to caramelize and concentrate and go delicious. And then last but not least, I want to prep some of this stuff, basil. What we have here is beautiful leaves and the stalk. So I'm going to take the leaves off the stalk, put it to one side, and then these stalks I'm going to put to the other side, and I'm going to use all of it. Just finely slice the stalks, and that will go in as well. So we're absolutely wasting nothing. And now what it really needs is time. Just kind of give it a stir every now and again. So that is going to be beautiful. Now here, for this lovely basil oil, simply take the basil and put it in a pestle and mortar. So I'll just take a little pinch of salt into the basil, smash it up, and then in 30 seconds, you can just let it down with oil. So put that to one side. And look, all we have to do now is give this a stir every couple of minutes. £1 wonder coming your way. It's had 20 minutes. You can see the colors have concentrated and got caramelized. It's shrunk down. So now's the fun bit. It all comes together now. So I've got 250 grams of lovely cherry tomatoes. These I've just washed and I'm gonna put in whole. I said it was a £1 wonder. So in here, we're gonna go in with 300 grams of the pasta shells, then go in with 800 millilitres of water, and then we're just gonna stir it through. Very importantly, give it a season with salt and pepper, mix it, and then put the lid on top, and we'll cook that for the same amount of time as it says on the packet of pasta, about 10 or 12 minutes, then I'll show you what to do next. So this has had 10 minutes, and the pasta shells have only sucked up the gorgeous tastiness from the veggies. And I'm gonna use 4 tablespoons of this cottage cheese in here. I'll stir this through and just let those little curds warm up a little bit. So I'd serve that in the middle of the table. A few of those basil leaves I'll just put in and around the pan like that. So then put the basil oil through the pasta. So guys, look at that. That's a really nice, easy one-pan comfort food dish, packed full of the good stuff. Properly tasty. Let's have a little try. Fresh, full of lovely veggie flavour. You've got those curds of lovely cottage cheese that are in there, and that hit, that perfume of the basil oil. It's fantastic. Now look, I love it in the middle of the table with a pan. Just help yourself. If you can, dress it up a little bit and put it on a platter, and then just pour it in. Look at the colour. Maybe just grab a few more basil leaves, a kiss of olive oil, 1 pan veggie pasta.
My cheesy onion soup is a perfect way to celebrate autumn as the days draw in. This is a homage to the French onion soup, but there's a few things that we do in this country that are so good. I'm really proud of bread and cheese and a few little kind of hacks for flavour. So slice up 2 kilos of onions, red or white, it doesn't matter. Without being kind of too boring or geeky, if you slice an onion, it tastes different when you cook it to if you chop an onion. And if you chop it coarse, it tastes different than if you chop it small. And if you roast it whole in the skin, it tastes different to if you roast it whole without the skin. So like, that's cool, right? So we cut it this way. It's just sweeter and more delicious. So I'm gonna use a lovely casserole style pan, medium high heat, go in with some olive oil, a couple of tablespoons. I'll take a knob of butter. This looks generous, but I'm making quite a lot of soup, right? This is going to be enough for like 8, maybe even 10 portions. And then garlic. Take 6 cloves. We'll slice these up. As soon as this lovely butter is sizzling away, get the garlic in there. I don't want any colour on this garlic. You just want to bring out those sweet flavours. And then I'm going to go in with the onions, and lots of them. It's going to look like too much, but you have to trust me. We need to access the natural sugars in this incredible vegetable, and that requires a little time, right? So we want to soften these, and then as the moisture starts to cook away, we start to fry, and then we start to caramelize. I'm going to turn the heat up now, season it with some salt and some pepper, fairly generously. And then I want to take another little bit of inspiration from the French and have a bouquet garni, which is like a little bunch of herbs. So take a little bit of sage, thyme, rosemary. You could have a little bay leaf in there. Grab some string and tie it up, or you can buy them like this. That little bunch of herbs is going to give incredible fragrance and flavour. Turn the heat down to medium. And I am going to cook this down for about 40 minutes. But instead of losing all of this moisture, you can see the steam, right? I want to keep it. So I'm going to make a little lid. This is what the French would call a cartouche. So this bit of paper is folded in half, and then folded in half again, and then again. Measure up to the center of your pan. Slice off the end. Take the tip of your knife and just do a little cross like that. And let a little bit of steam come through. So if I put our little cartouche on top, or if you don't want to do that, use a lid, a jar. So what's that going to do? It's going to keep it wetter for longer. We're going to release more sugars, get more caramelization, more color, more flavor. So that's how you cheat out epic flavor. So I'm going to cook this for 20 minutes with the cartouche paper on top, and then I'll rip it off, and then I'll caramelize it for 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what to do next. I've just given it a little stir every now and again. If you look in the bottom of the pan, it's actually those brownings that are going to give this broth, this soup, the most beautiful dark colour. So to help get all those sticky bits off the bottom, add a little beer. A British IPA, 300 mils, not too much. And I'm going to turn the heat up now and cook all that beer away. Now we're going to go in with the stock. I'm going to use a chicken stock. 2.5 litres goes in. Let that simmer for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then let's get onto the bread. I'm going to go for quite brave, kind of 2 centimetre slices. When I say brave, I mean like chunky, rustic. I find that if I toast it, I get deeper flavours. And this is not a garnish. This is part of the ingredients. That little bouquet garni on a leash has done its work. We'll get loads of lovely fragrance from that. You all right, Conker? Mate, sadly, you're not going to be able to enjoy this. Sorry, dude. Next time. And hopefully, I haven't burnt my toast. I'm going to take a little bit of butter for deliciousness. I'm then going to bring in another friend, English mustard. And then, amazing British farmhouse cheeses. You can use any 1 or 2 or 3 that you like. Things that are going to ooze really nicely. You want just enough cheese to sort of generously top your toast. Just use what you love. Use your little toasty barges to float on this beautiful sea of onion. And you want to submerge the bread. And you want them to be soft, but you want the top to kind of gratinate and go beautiful. I didn't think I had enough cheese, so I added just a little bit more. And then last but not least, a little Worcestershire sauce. And now, turn it off and get this under the grill for like 5, maybe 10 minutes until it's just golden, crispy, oozy and delicious. Heaven. Just look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. A homage to the fine, humble onion. Bang in season right now. Let's have a little portion up. I am very, very excited about this. Amazing colour. A beautiful, oozy slice of that good stuff. Extra virgin olive oil over the top. Let's have a little try. A nice wodge of those onions. Just so soft. Effortless to eat. So good. Even though that bread's been toasted and it's quite robust, when it sits in that lovely broth, it absorbs it all and it just softens. This is a brilliant soup to kick off the beginning of autumn. Whether you're growing onions or just down the markets and supermarkets where there will be onions like you wouldn't believe, it's nice to shine a little spotlight on that lovely vegetable. What a joy. I'm going to show you the most delicious recipe for homemade soup. A beautiful bowl of steaming vegetable soup with cracked pasta in there. It's a kind of minestrone. My family absolutely love it. I'm going to show you how to make a very, very quick homemade pesto that is pungent and full of flavour. The two together are sublime. So we've got good recipes here, but I'm going to introduce you to your best friend in the kitchen, the freezer. And I really want to tell you the benefits of using frozen veggies, having them in your freezer, and allowing you to really make delicious dishes full of all the good stuff. First up, let's get the veggies. So let's have a little look what we've got here. This is a bag of sofrito. All the supermarkets are selling bags of chopped up carrot, onion, celery, stuff like that. I've actually got some lasagna here. This is fresh lasagna that you can actually freeze as well, but of course you can use dried pasta in this dish. I'll put that to one side. I've got frozen peas, a classic. I've got some frozen stock made from the leftover carcass of roast chicken dinner. Just put it in a pan, cover it with water, any little bits of sort of veggies, some herbs, boil it up for a couple of hours, and then put it into bags, and you can freeze it for another day. Great for risottos and soups. And then I've got some frozen broccoli here. I've got some broad beans here. I'm going to put the chicken stock to one side. In a pan, let's make a beautiful hearty soup. Put that on a heat. We're going to go in with some olive oil here, like that. I'm going to go in with the sofrito. Sometimes supermarkets call it chef's base as well, but essentially it's the same thing. So we're going to defrost that and start to fry it off. And we want to get that caramelization, that sweetness of flavor coming out of the veggies. So mix in your sofrito. We've got our veggies sort of sitting here ready and raring to go, so they can sit to one side. So while this sofrito starts to fry and caramelize, I want to talk to you about pesto. Now, look, the jarred pesto that you get in the supermarkets, super convenient, like you get all kinds of different pestos. So 10 out of 10 for convenience. And if I'm being really, really honest, the best ones that you can get are probably a 6 out of 10 on flavour, right? It's impossible to get any higher, right? Why? Because it's all about these fresh herbs. If I want to make something that's truly jaw-droppingly delicious, then I want to show you how utterly simple pesto can be. So, this is 100 grams of basil, and I'm going to throw it in there with the stalks, everything, okay? I'm going to go in with a handful of nuts. These happen to be pine nuts, right? But it could be almonds, it could be hazelnuts, right? It could be pistachios. I'm going to use one piece of Parmesan here. I'm going to use a knife to take the rind off, and I'll tell you about this later. And I'm just going to break up the Parmesan like that into the machine. 1 clove of garlic. Lid on, 40 seconds. So that's 30 seconds. Then I'm going to go in
with some olive oil and just give it a little pulse. Homemade pesto, done in about 40 seconds. I don't need to season it with salt because the Parmesan's got plenty of salt. Also, that story about the freezer being your best friend, it is. Now, if you freeze homemade pesto, that is going to always be at least twice as good as anything in a jar. Why? Because the freezer can trap all those perfumes. It really is very, very good. It's just get a little freezer mold like that, fill it up. You can take like a little cube of frozen pesto and put it on garlic bread. You could put it on a chicken breast that you're roasting, or, you know, a lovely piece of grilled fish, salmon, anything like that. You know, you can take a couple of cubes and toss it with some lovely tagliatelle. So this is about having homemade delicious food work hard for you. So if you whack this in the freezer, here's one that I froze. Look, that's what you get. Homemade, fresh, and without question going to be better than anything in a jar, right? Because it's frozen, not pasteurized. Okay, so that's a nice little hack that hopefully is getting you thinking. So the rest of this pesto, I'm just going to put into this bowl. Once you make pesto that quickly, you'll never buy the jarred stuff again, I'm telling you. So look, homemade pesto in 40 seconds, and also a batch in the freezer for a rainy day to go on all kinds of different things. So back to the pan here, I can hear we're starting to get some serious frying. Can you hear that? Let's just talk about frozen vegetables. So I think there's a kind of idea out there that frozen veggies are down market, that are not as good, that they're sort of a lower quality. It's an interesting one. As far as nutrition is concerned, it's highly likely that frozen vegetables are more nutritious than fresh. How can frozen veg be more nutritious than fresh? Okay, let me explain. As soon as you pick something that's fresh, the graph of nutrition is starting to wane, right? And if you're thinking about something that's taken a week to get into the supermarket or the market, it's just going down and down and down. It might look fresh, but the nutrition's depleting, right? As soon as veggies for freezing are picked, they're normally frozen within 8 hours, right? So it captures and it traps that nutrition. So from a nutrition point of view, frozen veggies are epic. From a waste point of view, they're epic because I can go in and I can take a little handful and just put a bit more veg into a dish, and I can leave that in the freezer. So from a waste point of view, epic. Convenience, epic. So look, back to the soup. For fun, actually not for fun, for thoughtfulness, that rind of Parmesan, often that goes in the bin, right? So it's hard and it's salty. But what if I put it in here, right? So you can use that as a seasoning flavor bomb. So Parmesan has that umami flavor. It's also very salty on the skin. But when you put it in a soup, you shouldn't have to season much at all, right? And then interestingly, after some nice simmering, that hard, inedible Parmesan rind actually softens up. And then you can actually slice it up and then you can eat it. You can even sort of fry it and make it crispy. It's very, very cool. Now I'm happy to add the next veggies. So I'm going to go in now with just a load, no specific amount, of broad beans, peas. I'll go in with some broccoli here. I'm going to go in with the chicken stock. Of course you can use stock cubes and boiling water, but homemade chicken stock is always going to be really, really delicious. So in we go, and it's all going to start defrosting. This is going to taste delicious in any soup, risotto, stew, curry. Like, it makes or breaks a dish. So in I go with 1.5 litres of lovely stock. So look, let that just melt down, bring it to a boil, and then I'll show you what to do next. So this has been simmering for about 15 minutes. Smells beautiful, thanks to that incredible chicken stock and that lovely base that we fried down. So look, you can see the colour of the frozen veg is beautiful. So what I want to show you now is the pasta. This is frozen lasagna sheets. I'm just showing you this as a nice little hack. So what's great about this is because it's fresh, when I got it, you can get it on bargain or reduced or whatever you want to call it. Just put it in the freezer. It's really good. If you take it out of the freezer, they kind of defrost really quickly. You can use it for your lasagnas. Sometimes you have leftovers. So we're literally just going to break it all up badly, like that. Big bits, small bits. And it doesn't take much time to cook at all. So that just goes in. You could, of course, use dried pasta. And for me, personally, when I do this kind of soup, I get all the odds and sods, the random bits, smash them all up and just throw them in there. I like having small bits and I like having some big bits. So just stir that through. So that is looking and smelling very, very good. Nearly ready to go. Of course, it's fresh, so it only needs like 3-4 minutes to cook. So let's get a couple of little bowls here. Let's get our lovely homemade pesto. So look, it's coming up. We're pretty much there. A little extra salt and a little bit of black pepper. Stir that through, it's gonna be absolutely delicious. This is ready to serve, lovely people. Let's do it. A lovely bowl of hot steaming broth. Look, there is actually, let's pull that out. There's that Parmesan here. Let's just take that out. Chop that up and that'll just be a bomb of delicious seasoning and flavor that you can stir through there. So what I love to do is just finish that with a beautiful pesto. So there you go. Because you have to, a little bit of olive oil on the top, and that is a beautiful dish. I've got one last little freezer hack for you. It's one of my favorite ones actually. When you buy fresh chilies, if you've got too many, it happens to me quite a lot, I just throw it into the freezer, right? And if you freeze a chili hard, you can just grab a grater and you can grate chili frozen over the top like this. Look at that. Can you see what it's doing? And once you've finished doing it, back in the freezer. Enough yapping. Time to get slurping. Let's get a bit of pasta, get a bit of pesto, a bit of broth. Oh yeah. It makes me feel really, really happy. Just gorgeous. And look, I've celebrated all things frozen today, and I think it's really important to do that. You know, being passionate about food, being a chef can't just be about farmers markets and growing. Like, it has to sort of look at the reality of life and convenience. And this is a really good one. And if you want to mix and match frozen with fresh asparagus in there, handful of spinach in there, of course, go for it. Swap out the pasta, go in with rice. Swap out the rice, go in with gnocchi. Swap out the gnocchi, go in with bread. Like you can just make this yours. But one thing is for sure, if you follow the little points of care in this recipe, you will be making some of the best soups of your life. Enjoy. I'm gonna make for my family a beautiful aubergine parmesan Milanese. I love doing this. It's a brilliant way to really elevate the humble aubergine to the next level, right? And what I'm gonna give you is a method where we actually tenderize the aubergine, make it creamy on the inside, crispy on the outside with the parmesan, so good. And then I'm gonna serve that with a sweet tomato, basil and garlic sauce, simple pasta, bit of parmesan, happy days. So look, it's a really quick one to do, and it's a really fun process. So first of all, what we need to do is get the aubergine sliced up into 4 1-centimetre slices. Literally just shave the end off the black skin to expose the white flesh. Do the same on the other side. And then what we want to do is cut it in half. Now, I leave the stalk on because it really helps to hold the whole thing together. Now, once you've got it in half, again, exactly the same, put the knife in between, gently cut down, through to the stalk again, all the way through. So what we have here, essentially, is like 4 escallops of aubergine. So first of all, what we need to do is draw out the moisture. Now, it's gonna look like I'm gonna over-salt it, but I will be taking half of this salt off. But this salt is really important for this tenderization, right? So we're gonna put some of this aubergine on the salt here, like that. And that will start to bring the moisture out of the aubergine. It actually starts to change the texture, right? And we can actually treat it like meat, and we can start to tenderize that. And if you use like a regular meat bat, or even your fist, what you can do is start pounding and you'll start to completely change the texture. By doing this, you're going to get a creamy inside, and by cooking it the way I'm going to cook it, it's going to be really crispy on the outside. So simply flip that over, and then we'll do the other side. So already, this kind of feels completely different. And that's just from a little bit of time with salt and a little bit of tenderization. And then all I do now is get a bit of kitchen paper and just dab off that sort of salty juice like that. So next up, breadcrumbs. What I'm gonna do is take this lovely vegetable and make it really crunchy. So I've got 2 free-range eggs, whisked up till they're nice and loose. Now let's talk about the breadcrumbs. I love to try and get the rosemary focaccia. Why? Because it's white, it's crunchy, but also the rosemary and garlic in this will give your breadcrumbs extra flavour, but with one ingredient. Of course, you can use whatever bread you want, but the more exciting your bread is, the more exciting the flavour will be on the outside of your aubergine, right? So 100 grams of bread I want, and just whack that straight into a food processor. Like that. What I quite like is it's kind of got a little bit of substance to it. Look at that. It's bouncy, there's some chunks in there. You can see the little bits of rosemary as well. So, now we're gonna take our lovely aubergine, just like you would if it was a cut of meat. Season it up with a little pepper, like that. And then into the egg. That's kind of like your binding. That's your glue. Can you see the difference in the texture, right? If you'd have just cut the aubergine, it would never do that. It would actually break. Shake the plate of breadcrumbs here, let the excess come off, then put it onto the breadcrumbs and then use your other hand, otherwise it will get sticky, to cover it, pat it down, bit of pressure, and then a little shake. But that, my friends, is a beautiful breadcrumbed aubergine. So 1 down, 3 to go. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got those 4 done. So now get a large non-stick pan on a high heat. A nice swig of oil goes in there. And then I'm just gonna lay our lovely breadcrumbed aubergine into that oil and start to fry it. I wanna get it lightly golden, so about 2 minutes each side. Now, look, the great thing about this recipe is traditionally, of course, it will be veal, right? Or chicken, or pork sometimes. And bigging up the veg, I think, is a really nice thing to do. So let's just have a little look at this first one that went in. Look, that's lovely. So let's flip that over. Look at that. Nice and sizzly. That black skin gets really nice and crispy too. Look at that, golden, crisp and delicious. And I've experimented doing the same preparation with slices of butternut squash, beautiful pumpkin, amazing, courgettes, or even a mixture of different ones. And I think it's just a brilliant way to enjoy veg, but we should all be enjoying more veg, right? So get yourself some Parmesan, and this is when things get even tastier. Garlic, rosemary, breadcrumbs. Now a little Parmesan is gonna be good. Get a fine grater, and just kind of do long strokes on a baking tray. So that's like the welcoming party to our lovely aubergines. So have a little look at these. Oh, yes. That is beautiful. That's gonna be so tasty. Look at that. Here we go. And then as it's all sizzling and gorgeous, then we go over with some more long strokes of Parmesan, and this will just become one. This will just melt into the aubergine. So at this stage, this beautiful thing goes in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for about 10 minutes. And actually, 10 minutes is a pretty good number because I've got some spaghetti here and it says cook for 10 minutes. We'll boil that up. At the same time, we're gonna make the simplest, quickest tomato sauce ever. So first up, tinned tomatoes. There's plum tomatoes, great. Chopped tomatoes, passatas, use whatever you like. But in the world of tinned tomatoes, there's actually cherry tinned tomatoes. And they're blooming delicious. And I've only really found them in the supermarkets in the last couple of years. So look out for these lovely little cherry tomatoes, right? Because they're gorgeous, they're sweet, and they're picked at their very best. So in a pan we go with a little olive oil,
And then a couple of cloves of garlic. Just run your knife through it. Easy peasy, right? Get that into the oil. We want this to be sweet, so don't get too much colour on that. Not always, but sometimes I'll put a little bit of chilli in there. I want it to be very mild. The kids are gonna have it. So I'll take the end off, half it, and I'll take the seeds out, right? And then I'll put that whole chilli in, and then I can take it out later. But it's gonna give this tomato sauce a hum. It won't be hot, it won't be spicy. So in we go. And then as soon as there's a little bit of colour on the lovely garlic, then we'll break the frying and go to boiling these beautiful cherry tomatoes. All you need to do is bring those cherry tomatoes up to the boil. We'll season it with a little pepper and some salt. And then some basil, about half a bunch, just tear it up. And now we have a beautiful, delicious, fast, gorgeous tomato sauce. Put that on low. Pasta's got a few more minutes to go. Right, 10 minutes is up. Let's have a little look here. Look at that. You can see it sizzling away. That's gonna give you the most amazing texture. So look, let that cool down. If you look in the pan here, see how it's just been on a very low heat, just drying up, right? What you've done is concentrate flavor. So now what we can do is take our lovely pasta and let the excess water rehydrate this. So cook that pasta nice and al dente, and then let it kind of do that last bit of cooking in the tomato sauce. So the pasta and the sauce kind of become one. Simple stuff, but so good. Look at that. I just love it. Extra splash of water. Get that consistency right. If you want to put a little parmesan in the pasta, absolutely you can. It's just joyful. Right, let's plate up. Grab half of that pasta and just let it kind of hang, right? And then just let it just kind of drape across the plate. Gosh. A few bits of the lovely cherry tomato on top. They're so soft and tender. Get a little slice under the aubergine. You can see how crispy that's gone. And just lay it over the top. And I just love it. It's like the simplest sauce, but it just feels special. A few little baby basil leaves, and maybe one last little kiss of parmesan if you want. But that's it. Job's done. Aubergine Milanese, simple pasta, and then the simplest, quickest little sweet tomato sauce. Let's have a go, come on. Let's get in there. So what I want from the aubergine is crisp on the outside and really buttery tenderness on the inside. Let's just go for a bit of aube first. Look at that. For me, it's all about taking the everyday aubergine and just elevating it to the next level. I love it. Absolutely delicious. Because you've got that beautiful crunch. And then the inside of the aubergine is so buttery and silky. It's got texture, it's got deep flavour. This dish makes me happy. If you've never enjoyed aubergine cooked like this, you've got to try it. Beautiful, mouthful, deliciousness.
River! Dinner! Right, do you want some slurpy pasta? Big or small bit? Big. Okay. Let me give you. Hi guys, hope you're well. I can't wait to show you this delicious meal. It's mushroom stroganoff, and it's a recipe from page 30 from my brand new cookbook, Jamie's Veg. I'm so proud of it. This book, of course, is all about veg, and there's something for everyone. There's comfort food classics, really light food. Everything's vegetarian. There's a whole load of vegan dishes as well. There's nutritional information on every single page. There is a whole world of beautiful color. And here it is, page 30. So stroganoff was classic for being beef stroganoff. Of course, we've removed that, but we're going big on mushrooms. It's really simple, a small amount of ingredients, but an opportunity to really focus on how do you get incredible flavor out of these beautiful mushrooms. So starting off with 400 grams of beautiful mushrooms. This will be enough for a generous 2 portions. So if you go to the supermarket, you'll find a whole array of mushrooms. We've got some standard brown mushrooms, classic oyster mushrooms, girole. I absolutely love these, but they all taste a little bit different, but they're all kind of, you know, giving you that deep sort of savory flavors that we love. You can just slice these up, no trouble at all. You can tear them. There's no right or wrong, just, you know, rip them up like that. Make it a nice mouthful size. We're gonna get a big pan on a medium-high heat, and I'm not gonna add any fat at all. Cooking the mushrooms in a dry pan like this naturally brings out the nuttiness from the mushroom. So I probably eat vegetarian 2 or 3 times a week. I really enjoy it. I think to be a fully rounded cook, it's really good to not rely on meat to kind of get away with big flavor. So I find it a really positive thing for my cooking. I think it's a really positive thing for your health. Now, back in the pan, we're still dry frying, guys. So you're sort of lightly charring it, you're making it nutty, you can see the moisture's coming out. So while that goes on, I want to quickly prep the garlic and the onions. I've got 1 red onion, I'm just going to peel it, half it, and then finely slice it. But then I'm also going to finely slice the garlic. Everything's going to happen quite quickly from here on in. We'll give it a shake around, a little seasoning, salt and pepper, and some nice olive oil. So it's the first introduction of fat. The minute you add the oil, we're changing gear, right? So now we've gone from nuttiness to more sort of caramelization and frying. So as that fries around, I'm going to take just a few cornichons, 4 little silver-skinned pickled onions. I'm just going to finely slice those. It gives you this beautiful sort of slightly acidic crunch. It's a really nice surprise. So I'm also going to add a little caper, so just a little tablespoon like that. I absolutely love it. So that goes in now. Add a nice pinch of paprika. That's going to give it a little spice. Absolutely beautiful. I want to add some parsley. Rip off the kind of herby part for later. And then with the stalks, don't throw it away. Finely slice the stalks. There's brilliant flavor in there, very sweet. And that's gonna go in the pan right now, and then I'm gonna flame it. Now, you don't have to flame it. I'm using whiskey, you could use cognac, you could use even gin, very, very nice. So give your pan a nice little shake like this. Then add your chosen alcohol, just a couple of good shots like that, and then flame it. There you go. Flaming it is going to help to caramelize and flavor the vegetables, which is really nice. Of course, put your fan on, you know, get your hair out of the way, don't singe it. You know, be careful. You don't have to do this, but when you do flame the booze, you cook away the alcohol. And then what you're left with is the effort of the maker. Now, at this part in the story, we're kind of done. All we have to do is add a nice spoon of creme fraiche. You could, of course, use cream. I'm going to add just a little swig of water to give you a consistency of a nice creamy sauce. Go in with some roughly chopped parsley leaves. We'll bring that to the boil, and that, my friends, is going to be a delicious stroganoff. I think it's a brilliant time now to embrace more veggie dishes. Whether you're veggie, vegan, or you're just trying to reduce the amount of meat dishes you have in the week, this is a brilliant, brilliant thing. And if it's delicious, it's delicious. You know, veggie food should never be a compromise. Have a little serve up. Look at the colors, guys. The lovely different shades and colors of the mushrooms. Look at that. You could serve this with noodles, but for me, it has to be fluffy basmati rice. So these have been cooked for like 12 minutes, and I just put the lid on and let it steam. It will soak up all of that beautiful creamy sauce. This is absolutely one of my favorites. It really makes me happy when I eat this. It's a generous portion, look. So there you go, delicious. Mushroom stroganoff, page 30 of the new book, Jamie's Veg. Right, enough yapping, let's have a try. So here we go. Rich and intense and delicious. Have a go, have a cook up and enjoy. Hey guys, hope you're well. So this recipe you're gonna love. It's a beautiful smoky veggie chili with salsa, homemade flatbreads. It's really comforting to eat. You get 4 of your 5 fruit and veg a day in one dish. Come on. What you need is a large non-stick casserole style pan on a high heat. We've got about 3 or 4 beautiful sweet potatoes. I want a kilo of fresh tomatoes, a bunch of spring onions, like that. And then one of the heroes of the veggie world, sweet corn. Get your 2 corn, put it in your hot, dry pan, turn it like every minute, and then after about 5 or 6 minutes, it will be lightly golden all over, and that's what we want. At the same time, get your spring onions, just take that funky little waft the end off, and these can go straight into the hot pan as well. We're also going to put in 4 cloves of garlic. So I've peeled this garlic here. The sweet potato here we'll just slice up into little kind of 2-centimeter chunks. Okay, so the sweet corn needs a little bit more time. The actual spring onions, they're done. I'm going to take the white parts of the spring onion off and put it here, and that's going to be in our salsa. Green part is going to go in a liquidizer. If we look in the pan here, can you see these lovely garlic cloves? They go in the liquidizer as well. So next up, we'll just get this sweet potato in here. I'm going to put about 800 grams of tomatoes. I'm going to put like 2 or 3 of those tomatoes over there. The rest of the tomatoes just cut in half, and we're going to put in the liquidizer. So 2 tins of black beans. We're going to put 1 tin, juice and all, into this liquidizer. Also, I'm going to use a spice. So I've settled on a beautiful Cajun seasoning. 2 heaped teaspoons. Right, let's blend it up. So in literally seconds, you get all those ingredients turn into the most amazing sauce. So let's take the sweet corn out. That's going to go onto our salsa board over here. Now what we can do is go in with the last 2 things. We've got this sauce straight in. The flavor is going to be amazing. And then in with the rest of the black beans and the juice. So you've got nice whole beans in there. So now what we have to do is turn down this heat, let it simmer away for about half an hour, 20 minutes until the sweet potato is tender. So as that does its thing, I'm going to show you how to make beautiful homemade flatbreads. So here I've got 150 grams of self-raising flour. What I want to do is add to this a good pinch of salt and then 80 milliliters of water. That goes in. I tend to use a fork and just angle the bowl and mix it around, and then we can start using our hands. As soon as it's cleaned the bowl, then just give it a little knead. For about a minute, you don't have to do sort of too much. Cut it roughly into 4, right? There's your 4 balls, and I tend to just put my hand on it, push down, and roll it around, and you just make a little ball like that. So roll these into 4 lovely balls, let them rest now for a couple of minutes while we turn this veg into an amazing salsa. First job, I'm gonna take the beautiful charred sweet corn, and then I'm just gonna get my knife and just carefully hold it and run the knife down the sweet corn. Do that to the second one. Then we can push that to one side. We can go in with the beautiful spring onions. So that goes into the bowl as well. And then the tomatoes, I'll cut in half like this. See where the little core is here? Just cut that out. Then just squeeze the juice of the tomatoes away. Just like roughly slice it up, and then the tomatoes go in. Salt and pepper is really helpful in this story, but also vinegar. So mix it up. So salsa done. So look, I'm gonna put the lid on the chili now, and then I'm gonna get a pan on full whack, okay? It couldn't be easier to turn those balls into a lovely flatbread. Put a little bit of flour on the bottom, a little bit on top, press your balls down, and then get yourself a rolling pin and just roll it out and go as thin as you can, using the flour as you go. You can see how thin and fine that is. But then what's really important is to keep them warm. So get yourself a clean tea towel, just lay that out here, and every time you do a flatbread, you can cover it up. Happy days. Straight into the pan. Pretty much straight away, you should start to see the self-raising flour kick into action and the little bubbles come up. So see how this is soft and spongy, and this is charred and toasty. I like that. Right, so straight into here, cover it up. So third one down, last one, in we go, and then we're ready to serve. Okay, so time to serve up now. Get yourself a nice, generous serving of the sweet potatoes, the beans. We'll take that salsa, and on top we go. We've got the flatbread here, so we take that and we can kind of tear it up, literally shove it in the side. Let's just take a little bit of coriander, a little bit of yogurt to kind of contrast it. That's an optional as well. I mean, it was a vegan dish, now it's a vegetarian dish, but you can kind of get vegan yogurts and stuff like that. Let's get amongst it. I love just tearing up our homemade flatbreads. Oh, come on. That is delicious. Time to make homemade kebabs. Woohoo! And this time it's a posh kebab because we're doing a mushroom shawarma. Layer upon layer of beautiful mushrooms. We're gonna marinate them. We're gonna give them gorgeous spices. We're gonna get it charred and dark and gnarly, and we'll carve that over beautiful thin flatbreads. You will go mad. So come on, let's do it. Homemade mushroom shawarma. We're pushing the meat aside. We're bigging up this incredible vegetable. So let's start off with the marinades. We'll go into a pestle and mortar,
with 2 garlic cloves, pinch of salt. Crack this into a paste. It smells fantastic. Then, maybe an unusual ingredient that you've never seen before. These are preserved lemons. The smell and the flavour is almost like a hyper lemon squash. It's extraordinary. So get rid of all the little seeds. Chop these lemons. You'll use the skin and the inside and give that a little pound. For me, this is really, really important to bring out flavour. A heaped teaspoon of smoked paprika. Allspice goes in, cumin goes in. Bash them into the lemon and the garlic. Nick some of the liquor from the lemons. A little bit of olive oil. Look at the colour, guys. So this is the welcoming party for that lot. So, in we go. And you've got incredible flavour. Look at that. Ho, ho, ho. King oysters, they can go in. What I want to do is skewer these. So any mushrooms you can get your hands on. Anything that can be skewered is what we're after. I've got about 800 grams here. With these lovely old portobellos, pinch the end and peel them. I will not waste that, okay? So both go in. Fresh bay, I'm gonna take a humble onion into quarters and then into petals. So just give it a nice little toss up and that marinade gets in and between the mushrooms. So get yourself a nice old skewer and I wanna rack this kebab up tight and packed. So remember those gnarly little peelings? That's where a lot of the flavour is. One thing flavours another, one thing cooks into another. It's really good fun. So look at that. Dum 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 mushroom shawarma. Come on. So that's going to go in a roasting hot oven. There you go. So the kebab's cooking. Let's make homemade flatbreads that's going to wrap up that beautiful thing. We're going to take the 2 cheapest things that you got, which is flour and water. 2 heaped builder's mugs of the strong flour. Just about fill this mug. So it's hot water. Here's the twist. By using the hot water, you're partially cooking the proteins of the bread. Season it with salt, and we'll mix it up. Use the spoon, and then when the dough's not sticky, we can start using our hands. Just move it around like that. So as soon as that dough has cleaned the bowl, we can put that down, give it a little knead, and just work it until it's nice and smooth. So what you can see is we've got a really nice elastic dough, and that's what you get from the hot water. Roll these into 8 little balls, and then what I want to do is just put a damp cloth over the top like that. While the flatbreads rest, let's check in on those mushrooms. Have a look at this. So that's had about 15 minutes, and it's beautiful. Come on. If you look in the tray, can you see how the juice from the mushroom creates this stock? So we can use this, giving it a really good basting. This goes back in the oven, and we'll give it about another 15 minutes, guys. Let's do the flatbread. Get a couple of bits of grease-proof paper, and I want to oil these up with some olive oil. Put the dough on that, just pat it out with our hand, and put that on top. Just bring it out like that. It's so kind of bendy and elastic. Peel this off. Now this pan is on a medium-low heat, so just let the heat cook the flatbread. That's all I want to do. Cook, no colour. So the nice thing about this is you could do this the day before or an hour before your friends or family get there. It's really, really easy. No kebab is complete without the extras. I'm gonna make a little cheat salsa. So I'll take a regular jar of jalapenos, a little food processor, and then choose a nice green herb. I'm gonna go for mint. Just be brutal. Take the bunch, rip off the stalks, go in with the leaves, pour in the jalapenos and all of the vinegar, and whiz it up. So for me, this little cheat is a great salsa, full of flavour, and that mint brings it to life. So that is the simplest, cheatiest little salsa going. People are gonna love it. Get yourself some tahini, cool yogurt, and pomegranate molasses. This is gonna be an amazing little story. The sweet, the heat, the kind of robust, the refreshing. It continues with a simple quick pickle, half a diced cucumber, 10 sliced radishes, and 100 grams of quartered cherry tomatoes. We want to dress that with salt and pepper, simple olive oil, and vinegar. And I want to be fairly generous. One more thing I want to show you. This is dukkha. You can get it in quite a lot of supermarkets now, and it's basically pounded up hazelnuts, spices, and it's classically had with flatbreads and olive oil. Really, really nice. Got a little pile of mint, and it's time now to go and get our kebab. Look at that. I know what you're thinking. Is it burnt? Is it ruined? No, 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 no. This is perfect. We can now take that incredible pomegranate molasses
a little kiss of olive oil. So that's gonna be amazing flavor. We'll get our flatbread and we'll go in at the higher temperature. That high heat has now made the steam inside explode. It puffs it up like a big pillow. You get twists and turns and crispy bits, chewy bits. It's gonna be amazing. Okay, let's build this kebab. We wanna start with tahini. Really, really important. On we go. Savory and delicious. Be fairly generous. Then yogurt. Fresh and gorgeous. Time to carve our shawarma now. And as you carve into this and you look into the soul of the shawarma, you also then start to see the balance. We want burn, we want gnarly, but we also want that silky, soft inside. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, so what next? Let's hit it up with some whole mint. Do blobs of the salsa so you get hits of it and waves of it. And then the dukkha. This is texture, it's spice. So look, there's only one thing to do now, and that's roll this lovely thing up. And there is no elegant way to do it. That mushroom has like absorbed so much flavor. The salsa, bing, mint, wah, a little bit of molasses, woohoo, and then those like little hits of spice from the dukkha. Wow, and the jalapeno chili. There's a nice hum of heat there. That, my friends, is an absolute artisan version of a street food Friday night classic. Absolutely delicious. It's time to try something delicious that's gonna blow your mind. I wanna show you my expression of an Indian dosa. A light, crisp pancake batter filled with amazing vegetables, spices, with an array of sauces and pickles. It's so comforting, so delicious. So for this amazing dosa, you need an amazing fermented batter. It's very easy, but it's a 2-day process, and the fermenting might freak you out. Don't let it freak you out. The fermenting will give you texture, bubbles, and flavor like you won't believe. There's 3 ingredients that we're using here. You can get them in all the supermarkets. White rice, we've got the white split peas, otherwise known as urid dal, and then fenugreek, one of my favorite spices, very savory and really fragrant. Cover with water and leave to soak for 6 to 12 hours until the grains have plumped up and softened. Then blitz it all together until smooth. So that's the batter made, and now we let the natural bit happen, the magic bit, the fermenting. You'll see, because you'll see bubbles, right? That will be flavoured. As it's the weekend, we've got time to leave the batter to ferment overnight at room temperature so we can get on with the fun stuff. Now it's all about the filling, and I'm going to do one with potatoes, plantain and squash with amazing Indian flavours. We're going to begin the story with 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, a heaped teaspoon of mustard seeds, a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, turmeric in the corner. I don't really want to over toast that. Then we're going to add these incredible curry leaves. Then finally chop a 10-centimetre piece of ginger, 2 red chillies and add to the pan. Look at those colours, oh my lord. And then we'll go in with 3 small red onions. The potatoes, it just kind of gives it that starchy stodge that I like. Then there's this little fella, the plantain. I mean, it looks like a banana, but it's more starchy, more substantial. It's fantastic. And then I've got some amazing squash. Look at the colour. I mean, this is really nutritious, delicious, colourful food with spices and herbs. Honestly, when you eat this, it's going to blow your mind. So pop the tray into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit and let the filling cook for an hour. This is the really exciting bit. We're going to make the sauces and the pickles. The ones that we know probably most is mango chutney. Delicious, but I want to show you one that's full of life, full of vibrance. Take 3 nice, really ripe tomatoes and just gently and carefully grate it. What will happen is it will mush the flesh and it will leave you with the skin. On these box graters, see there's a finer side, so I'll use the onion for that. And the acidity in the tomatoes is going to kind of like almost pickle the onion. It's just going to have that kind of nice salsery tang to it. Grate in a small piece of ginger, season with salt, and add the zest and juice of a lime. And the lime juice will be like a ray of sunshine. So simple, so quick. Very delicious. So the next chutney I'm going to do is coconut chutney. Buy yourself a fresh coconut, get yourself something heavy, and give it a nice little whack. And then get a fork. And it's a bit laborious, but you just scratch it in a crisscross fashion, and you get this really nice kind of grated texture that I love. It's so tropical. So that goes into a pestle and mortar, and then I'm going to use another little piece of white onion and another little piece of ginger. Then pound it up to a mush. Lime juice, again, for that real freshness. Have a little taste. Wow. The next and last one I'm going to do is a lemon pickle. It's so good. And we're going to eat and use the flesh and the skin. And I make this a lot. A little oil in the corner of a pan. I'll then go in with a pinch of cumin, a teaspoon of black mustard seeds. I'll add the curry leaves here. We can spice it up with red or green chilies. As those curry leaves become beautifully crisp, then we simply go in with our lemons. So 30 seconds in a pan is all you need. But what's really mad is something very magical happens as this now cools down. The natural pectin in the lemon starts to create a kind of, almost a coating. It becomes a bit pickly. Who wouldn't want to dip something in that? Oh. Right, have a look at this, guys. I mean, that, my friends, is an amazing vegetable dish in its own right. But today, that's going to be smushed up a little bit and put in this incredible dosa. So let's get back to the batter. So in the sort of 15 hours that this has been fermenting, there's been an absolute party going on here, and that's what's going to give it that lightness and that flavour.
Season the batter with salt and pour a ladle into a lightly oiled non-stick pan.
Try and get this dosa as thin as you can. That fermenting, I can smell it now, it's that kind of beeriness. And as that cooks, it'll get crisp and thin. Now what we're going to do is we're going to load it. Wowzers. I mean, look at the thinness of this. And happy days. This is like no pancake you've ever had before. This, guys, is a dosa. Those intelligent, brilliant Indian flavors that I love so much. Right, enough talking. Let's do it. As I tear off little bits, I can go in and kind of take some of that tomato chutney and maybe a bit of, you know, the coconut. Mmm. Oh my Lord. Smiles all round. It's absolutely phenomenal. I don't even want to talk, I just want to eat.
People, I am so excited to give you a go-to Friday night classic in the Oliver household. We're going to make veggie tikka masala. We've got beautiful marinated and grilled veggies with paneer cheese, the lovely sauce, we've got an amazing grater salad. Then we've got these amazing little pancakes to mop up the sauce. So good, and I bet you can do it quicker than ordering a takeaway. So come on, let's do this. In a roasting tray, we'll go in with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then a nice heaped teaspoon of golden turmeric, amazing flavour, and then cumin seeds. Cut that with a little lemon. We can steal some of that zest, and that will caramelise and go sweet and delicious. But of course, it's the juice that we want. So that's our basic marinade. We'll use that to toss all the veggies. Onions into quarters, then break them into petals. We're going to skewer these. If they're too small, they're too fiddly. Then peppers, and just tear this into similar sized chunks. We've got chilies, red, green, yellow, whatever you can get your hands on. And then our good friend, Mr. Cauliflower. Just remove the stalk and we'll take big chunks. You can even put the nice green leaves in there. In here, we're just gonna have a good old toss up. Turmeric is just one of the most incredible spices. The colour, the savouriness, the sort of smokiness. And then paneer, the fantastic cheese. Cut an inch cube, put that in the marinade again. What's lovely about paneer, it is a fantastic carrier of flavours. So get yourself a skewer. So just skewer that on and just alternate it. Bit of onion, bit of chilli. So last one goes on. I've turned the grill on and we want to get it black and gnarly on one side, then turn it and get it black and gnarly on the other side. I reckon about 15, 20 minutes in a grill at full whack. So now it's the time for sauce. I want to introduce curry leaves. You might find that in your supermarket. If you haven't, there are Indian supermarkets all around the country and they will have it. This will transform your curries. Get some oil in a pan and they will start to go crispy. We'll sprinkle them on at the end and I just want the flavour in the oil. I'll take an onion and I'll just roughly chop that. That goes in to that curry leaf oil. I've got 4 cloves of garlic, roughly sliced them. Then I want a thumb-sized piece of ginger, really roughly chopped. I just want to soften these up. So we're going to go in with a heaped teaspoon of garam masala and then heaped teaspoon of sweet paprika. A little handful of almonds. They don't just give you that gorgeous nutty flavour, they give you a creaminess. Get a liquidizer. This is a very good friend in this recipe. We'll take a tin of plum tomatoes and I'll take the onions, nuts, spices, garlic and just get it in there. Maximum flavour, minimum kind of fuss. This is all good. So back into the pan. This is the base of your sauce. Nice and smooth. We're then going to go in with chickpeas, really soak up the flavour beautifully. I've got some coconut milk here, so I'm going to put most of the coconut milk in. One last thing, and that's just a nice, generous heaped teaspoon of mango chutney. Give that a stir. That is the welcoming party for our grilled veg. Let's start thinking about how we're going to make this Friday night special. I'm going to show you these amazing coconut, bubbly, one-side cooked pancakes. Get yourself a builder's mug filled with self-raising flour. Then we're going to go in with 1 mug of water. Black mustard seeds. Just shake some in. They'll soften, give good flavour. And then like a heaped tablespoon's worth of this coconut cream. Use a whisk, a small pan on a medium-high heat. I'll take a ladle. In we go. Round the rim of the pan and it'll start peeling away. And that is exactly what you want. So, take a beat. What's happening? Pancakes, sauce. Let's have a little look at our veg. It's cooked nice. I think I want to burn it a bit more. Right, so the timing's just working perfect. So, let's have a little think. Salad. No. What I'm going to do is a really cool box grater salad. It could be anything crunchy. So let's just grate a carrot. As I'm grating away, have a look in the pan. Can you see the sides of the pancake are coming away? So we're only cooking this on one side. Crispy one side, fluffy the other. I can smell that it's starting to sort of catch and toast. Boom. That, my friends, is what we've got. Crispy, beautiful gorgeousness. And that, mopping up that sauce, come on. So back to the salad, guys. We'll have cucumber, yeah. We've got some cabbage, and we've got ginger in there to sort of scent it. Pour that onto there, and then out is our cute little rainbow salad. I'm not going to dress this with oil, just lime juice, tear in a little bit of coriander. Yes, colour and fun on a Friday night, right? Back to the veg. And we can now just take these veggies into here, and what I like to do is stand it up like this, just slice down and cut them off. Let the veggies mingle with the sauce and simmer for 10 minutes. Remember, we saved back the little bit of that coconut milk. We can just ripple this through now. And sprinkle with crispy fried curry leaves. Have a little look at that. Enough talking, let's have a feed. Tear these up. We'll go for some curry. Paneer's there, beautiful bit of cauliflower. Those nice little chickpeas, where I put that coconut milk in at the end. See how it just ripples in the most beautiful, beautiful way. We'll get our salad, little slap of refreshment. Let me come down to the level. The pancake is a kind of a little edible plate that you can mop and tear. So good. And every mouthful, different flavours. And that sauce connects it all. This kind of vibe is a big part of our family, and I suggest you should have a go and make it a big part of yours. Enjoy. Guys, it's time for a pie like you've never seen before. Taking inspiration from Morocco, so we're talking beautiful veggies with the thinnest, crispiest pastry on the outside. Guys, welcome to the wonderful world of Mahancha. It kind of means snake or serpent. The star of our savoury Moorish feast is the delicious nutty flavour of the butternut squash. So guys, the first tip for bringing out maximum flavour from the squash. Leave the skin on. This is sweet and caramelly and delicious. Do not waste time peeling it when that is flavour So just scoop out those seeds and chop it chunky.
Into the pan with some oil, in with a squash. And the whole point of the journey is to give you a bang for your buck in your mouth that blows your mind. So next ingredient, peppers. Beautiful, sweet, red peppers. Get your thumb, put it in the hole, and push it in. And happy days. Get it in there. See the colour starting? Yeah. One of the things to learn here is the value and the investment in time, right? And like with many things that I cook at the weekend, whether it's a soup or a stew or a curry, or in this case a pie filling, you know, half an hour just dedicated to caramelization. It's the weekend. Different gear, different vibe, different food. Hallelujah.
Add another layer of flavour with some red onions and 2 punchy cloves of garlic.
And then spices. We're in Morocco. And I'm going to use a little fennel seeds, about a teaspoon. A little teaspoon of ground coriander, such wonderful savoury flavours. A nice good pinch or half a teaspoon of cumin. And then as much dried chilli as you think. I would just go like half a teaspoon. As the spices go in, you can see the softening. And as it softens, the natural sugars are released. Amazing. And this is just the beginning. Next up, we want a bunch of coriander like this. I'm going to use the leaves a little bit later and just finely slice the stalks. Give it a stir. And that, my friends, is going to be delicious.
While those flavours are having a little party in the pan, we're going to take the taste of Morocco up a notch with some gooey dates and apricots.
And if people in your family are a little bit fussy about dried fruit, just finely chop it. Whatever you do, don't not put it in, right? And that sweetness will just complement the whole thing. This has had about 25 to 30 minutes. Listen to that. Look how dark it's getting.
Whack in some cooked pearl barley and chopped fruit with a squeeze of lemon to really get the party going.
Through your hand, catch the pips. We got spice, gentle spice. We got a little chili, you know, just to give a hum. Dried fruit, the nutty squash, the sweet peppers, sweet onions, garlic. Come on! Mahancha!
And last up, those leftover fragrant coriander leaves.
Just hack it up and get it in. I'm going to turn the heat off now. Very happy with that. Tastes amazing.
But there's no such thing as a pie without pastry. And our snake needs skin.
We're using phyllo pastry, which you can get from every single supermarket.
Most ready-made phyllo pastry is vegan, as it uses vegetable oils.
To get to damp bits of tea towel, if you don't put it on a damp cloth, they'll start to dry.
Now for the fun bit. Drizzle some oil onto your phyllo before you start to layer up.
And then have a little touch, a little grab, and this will give you a texture like no pie you've possibly ever had before. So this is a vegan dish. There's no butter in this pastry. I don't want you to eat this because it's healthy. I don't want you to eat it because it's ethical. I want you to eat it because it's delicious. And it just so happens to be really good for you. And, you know, I don't want you to compromise. I eat meat, but I also eat vegan and veggie at least a couple of times a week. And it's a joy. At this point, just get your wet tea towel and fold it over, right? Fold it over like that. Squeeze it in, make it dense. And then you need to get a friend to come and help you, but I haven't got a friend here. I'm a bit lonely, so my friend is my tooth. I'm going to do that. 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 That, my friends, is the Mahancha, the snake. Just curl it up like a little Catherine wheel. Get it in there, get it on there, lube it up with some nice extra virgin olive oil. It's gonna split. Take that little extra sheet that you had hidden away, and this is kind of like your little Band-Aid. If anything, you're just creating more surface area to celebrate the crispiness and the deliciousness of this dish even more. Look how happy I am.
Slide your sexy snake into the oven, initially for 35 to 40 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit.
The smell is amazing, and there's a little kind of embellishment that you can do now that just makes it. So in Morocco, they have icing sugar over the top. which might seem ludicrous, right? But just go with it. It's going to give a sweetness with the spices and all those beautiful ingredients. This goes back in the oven for the final 10 minutes. Which gives us time to combine fresh chili, cinnamon, garlic and plum tomatoes in a gorgeous spice sauce. Look at that, guys. Roll after roll of crispy pastry, that comforting, gorgeous filling. I honestly think if you do this for a dinner party, people are going to go nuts. This is weekend eating in style. Let's get into the soul of my snake. Can you hear that? Oh, come on! Just a little coriander to garnish. Life's too short to do the same old stuff. Everyone's asking for more beautiful veggie ideas. Here you go. Oh. Happiness, bliss, absolutely delicious. A fast food favourite, but not as you know it. A gorgeous golden burger stacked with cheese, pickles and homemade sauce on a bed of crunchy rainbow salad. And all for only 425 calories per portion. Our first job is to squeeze some of the moisture out of it. You want to remove about 4 tablespoons of liquid. Losing some of the water content ensures lovely crispy edges when the tofu cooks. Add about 75 grams of wholemeal breadcrumbs and crack in an egg. We're going to use flavouring from an old friend. You'll either love it or hate it. So I want 2 teaspoons of Marmite. And this is a nice flavouring for me because it's savoury and I just like what it gives this particular patty that I'm trying to create. And that's the great thing about tofu. It's a great carrier of flavour. You know, the Marmite gives it that lovely savouriness, which I like. But at the same time, you could swap Marmite out and put pesto in. You could swap pesto out, you could put miso in. You could use harissa instead. Have fun with it, make it your own. But this recipe is a good base, and it gives you a good texture when you put it in a bun and put it in your gob. Once it's evenly mixed, shape into 4 patties, and it's time to cook them. I've got an amazing tip that's going to add loads of warm herbal flavour and more crunchy texture to my burgers. Rosemary, when it gets fried in oil, incredible things happen. It kind of turns into like little crisps. Lay your patties on top of the rosemary, and now it's time to knock up a vitamin-packed homemade ketchup with no sugar. We need about 8 lovely ripe tomatoes. Fresh is cool. Of course, you can do this with tinned tomatoes if you want, but fresh, ripe tomatoes are going to give you that kind of sunshine vibe. Chop up the tomatoes, add to the pan, and then season with salt and pepper. Definitely, I like a little bit of spice. So a tiny bit of chili sauce or some dried flakes of chili here. And then what other things make a kind of ketchup work? Acidity, that sort of piquance. So red or white wine vinegar, about a tablespoon. So we're not going to add sugar because I think you can get a lovely result, a fresh result with the natural sugars that are in these tomatoes right now. That's why they've got to be ripe, okay? So another little tip is if you go to a market, at the end of the day, they always flog off the overripe ones. They're the ones you want in there. They're perfect. Tear in some fresh basil. And you can see this is getting thick already. So what we'll do is, as it's cooking, we'll just use a potato masher to break the sauce. But look how quickly that's happening. Flip your burgers, cooking them for 3 minutes on each side. So look at these. I mean, they're looking really good. Great colour, crispy, soft, and sort of nice in the middle. Kind of quite excited about that. Next, classic burger territory, cheese. To add calcium, but also I want to keep it light on calories. 50 grams is all we need. So to complete this meal, we want to kind of do a hybrid of a slaw come salad, come kind of shred vibe going on. Eating a wide range of colours will provide a spectrum of superfood nutrients. So I'm using all sorts of crunchy veg, sliced, chopped, ribboned, and for some real retro fun, crinkle cut. You get kind of crinkle cut chips
Yay! This reminds me of an 80s perm. I don't know why. And once we've done that, let's just get in there, mix it up, and kind of let it just all look gorgeous. Let's just create a massive bed of goodness and colour that kind of all speaks for itself. Look at that. Next, a dressing for my salad. Plain live yoghurt, good for your digestion. A handful of basil, Dijon mustard, and a splash of white wine vinegar. You want that twang in there. Some salt, just a little bit, and chilli, about half a chilli, just to give it a little rumble of spice. Whiz it up until smooth, and drizzle it over your rainbow salad. Time to build your brilliant burgers. I'm using wholemeal buns, on average double the fibre of white. Covered in that tangy tomato sauce with your cheesy tofu patty resting on top. And no burger is complete without pickles. Just 2 or 3. And then the lid. Good. Get stuck in there, boy. So look, there you go. Really healthy, totally balanced. We've got all of those elements. We've got carbohydrates, protein, fruit, veg, and dairy. Yeah, 425 calories of goodness. Hello, Mr. Burger. I'm going to batch cook today a beautiful twist on a bolognese. I'm going to show you a very British bolognese. In this nice big ragu pan, I'll put in some olive oil. I'll start the story with rosemary, 2 or 3 sprigs into that oil, and that will be the beginning of flavour. Another really good trick worth mentioning are these pre-chopped bags of carrots, onions and celery. I think they're really handy. Do not rush this bit. We have to soften this veg, and we have to start lightly caramelising this veg. If we don't, if we just boil the veg, it's only ever going to be average. Now, in this recipe, I'm using mushrooms, wonderful chestnut mushrooms. They're going to give you huge flavour and amazing colour. Kind of make them the same size as the carrots and the onions, give or take. So, look, if you look in the pan now, you can see that all these lovely veggies are really soft and they're taking on colour. Now we go in with the mushrooms. So mushrooms are mainly water. So they're now going to start giving water to the pan, and then it will go back to frying again. So I've got 1 kilo of beautiful minced beef. Carry on cooking this for another, like, 10, 15 minutes to get back to frying again. So now is when I love to add the beer. A beautiful pale ale goes in. It's got amazing malty flavours, really deep kind of chocolatey vibe. I'm going to put a bottle in, about 500 mils. So what I want to do now is bring that to the boil and cook it down. So next up, we've got the tinned tomatoes. So 4 tins of tomatoes will go in our ragu. Oh, hello. You know what we're doing?
Buddy bolognese and tomato
Buddy's food.
So now we go in with the tomatoes, and we'll let that simmer for like 1 to 2 hours until really tender and delicious.
To blush that in.
Do you want to use that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So get your 4 tins of tomatoes in, and then it's nice to fill 2 tins up with water. Bring that to a boil and let that simmer for an hour or 2 until it's succulent, gorgeous and tender. And what I'm going to do then is show you how to make the most amazing pasta. I want to show you what I think is the coolest little hack. I've got 2 packs of fresh lasagna. What we can do is slice down, gap, slice down, gap, slice down, and then kind of put it slightly ajar and do slice down, gap, slice down, gap.
Maybe wobbly.
It can be wobbly. Once this is cooking, it's going to separate like a concertina. This is going to grab hold of the ragu and the sauce in a very different kind of cool way. So I've got a pan of boiling water. If you want, you can put a little oil in the water. This will help these not stick together. And then we'll literally drop this into the water, and it cooks in like 3 minutes. Can you see how all the little cuts are opening up? I'll put in a little bit of the ragu here, just a couple of spoons. Then I'll take that amazing pasta. Look at the shape of it. A little splash of water, by the way, just to make it oozy. And then the last very British ingredient, some cheddar.
it really melts beautifully. And then I like to use 2 spoons just to almost dress it like a salad. But just look how gorgeous this serves up. Hey, look at that. And I just find this way, you go from the everyday to something really sublime. A beautiful little take on the great bolognese. Right, let's have a little try. The beer has this big malty flavour, but there is an underlying bitterness, right? But then when it's contrasted with the sweetness of the ragu, the vegetables, the tomatoes, that is so tasty. I've got the kids running wild, I've got to do a few jobs in the garden, but I do want to get a lovely lunch on. My kids always love a roast chicken. I'm thinking lentils, spinach. We're going to go wild mushrooms. I'm going to use tarragon, paired up with some whole roasted garlic. Let's get this party going. It's beyond simple, right? Let's just lube up the chicken with some nice olive oil, a little swig of vinegar, basic sort of marinade. Hit it up with salt and pepper, a whole bulb of garlic, the tarragon. We're going to pick these lovely leaves later, but then the stalk is going up the jacksie of the chicken. So rub this chicken all over with the seasoning. I've got the oven, it's at 180 degrees Celsius. So there you go, in the oven, that's it. Now I'm free for an hour to do some jobs. The chicken's had an hour, just over, and that is a beautiful and very familiar sight, right? I'm gonna drain all the juices out of this lovely chicken, which is nearly cooked, it's not quite cooked, right? I wanna add beautiful flavour to that. So I'm gonna get some gorgeous smoked streaky bacon. So just lay it over the breast. This will go golden and crisp. The fat will render and continue to baste the chicken. And in here, look at this, all the drippings and our funky little garlic clove here. All that goodness should come out, just like that. That whole bulb of garlic ends up being a flavour hit. We've got 650 grams of beautiful mixed mushrooms. You've got shiitakes, the Asian mushrooms, beautiful portobellas. And then we've got these king oysters here. How fabulous are they? So we'll get those in. We'll hit it up with some seasoning. We're gonna roast them under that chicken for the last 20 minutes. So dress it like a salad. Chicken gravy mushrooms, come on! The mushrooms go at the bottom of the oven. We're gonna take this chicken that's nearly cooked and we're gonna place it directly onto the bars, and that bacon will start to render. It will baste the chicken, protect the breast, and the journey throughout that chicken to get more flavour then rains down on the mushrooms. They're gonna be the best mushrooms you've ever had. Time's up on the chicken. Have a little look. Let's just plate this up now. There we go, absolutely beautiful. All I'm gonna do now is put these incredible mushrooms on a nice platter. And look how lovely they look. Take that chicken as a real centerpiece on those mushrooms like that. And then take the tarragon, and that is what we serve at the dinner table. And then we're gonna use the same tray. We'll go in there with some olive oil, a bag or two of lovely spinach. I'm all in for roast potatoes, always. But to change it up, you can buy beautiful green lentils in tins. You can get them dried. Drain off most of the water. Bring them to the boil like this. We're gonna kiss it with vinegar. Season it to your liking. And then, at this stage, creme fraiche, so delicious. What I like to do is just let the creme fraiche just melt. And don't stir it. We're just gonna take it over to a platter and let it naturally ripple on there. How gorgeous is that? Come on. Okay, time to serve up. So that goes on first. So with the chicken, let's just take a nice little slice of the breast. Look at that. And then look, we've got this natural gravy that's come out of the mushrooms that's just so good. Knife, fork. I am very excited. Come on, Mr. Mushroom. I don't know what to say. It is utterly delicious. I am so happy right now. Speechless. What a joy. So let me show you a new take, a new flavour combination on a beautiful pizza that will definitely put a smile on your face. 150 grams of self-raising flour in a bowl. We'll go in with 80 millilitres of water. Pour that in, I'm gonna guess it, but 80 mils is perfect. A nice pinch of salt. Just use a fork to bring the flour and the water together. And we're gonna make a nice, pliable, elastic dough. And as it gets kind of firm, like a dough, then get rid of the fork, and we're gonna use our hand and just knead it for 2 minutes. It's unbelievably quick. You can see how now I've got quite a nice dough. It's elastic, it's smooth. So let that relax for a few minutes, then make sure your oven is on full whack. About 240 is perfect. So, flavor combo. First up, a beautiful Cumberland sausage. So I want a couple of nice sausages. I only need 2 for this recipe. So what I want to do with it is get it in a pan. I'll put it on a medium-high heat, and I'm going to pinch the end like this, and I'll squeeze out part of that sausage, right, to make essentially a meatball. And you'll get about 4 from each one. Get them heating up. Now let me just wash my hands. Now, I'll put a little bit of olive oil in the pan just to get the party going. And then I just want to get a bit of colour on the sausages. I don't need to fully cook it through. So as those brown up, I'm just going to finely slice the red onion. Just do your best to go as thin as you can. Sprinkle into these lovely fats the red onion. You can do a little handful of pine nuts. Buds, what have you got, bro?
Got some sun-dried tomato pesto.
Oh, nice. OK, I'll use that. Thank
Yeah.
you, mate. So look, the secret ingredient is the grapes. And just a little handful is all you need straight into this pan. And that is basically your topping. So we'll put that to the side for 1 second. So, Buds, let me roll out this, and you can sprinkle these on top. Just come around here, beautiful boy. So with the dough here, it's had a little relax. And actually, for consistency, I would just flour it and I'd roll it out. What I want is more of a kind of slipper shape, like an oval shape. So, Buds, if you can grab us a rolling pin and just roll it back and forth to about 30, 35 centimetres long, about 15 centimetres wide. There you go. Happy with that. So, Buds, if you can just put some oil in that tray and give it a little rub. Good lad. So I'll put Buddy's lovely homemade pesto onto the pizza. Just push this all over the topping like that. Then I've got this topping here, which I'm just going to shake on top like that.
I've never really had a pizza with the grapes on them before.
No.
Really excited to eat it.
Are you?
Yeah.
See, I was worried that you wouldn't like the grapes, but the thing is, once you try it,
grapes.
the sweetness, the saltiness, the whole kind of thing is beautiful. And there is one little linchpin that makes it all work that I nearly forgot. Rosemary. Rosemary and grapes, they're like a match made in heaven. The last thing you've got to do is mozzarella. Look at the colours.
So good.
Beautiful job. We've got a combo topping, which I promise you is a thing of beauty. Another great little tip. Put the gas hob on, right? And we're just gonna start the heat on the pan for like a minute or 2, just to get it sizzling. That will guarantee you the most beautiful crispy bottom. So this will now go at the bottom of the oven. Do you wanna rally the troops and I'll bring it out?
Yeah.
10 minutes is all I need in the oven.
Cool.
Bless you, big boy.
Mum, the pizza looks so good.
Okay, 10 minutes up. Here she is. Come on, look at that. I like to use like the cooking scissors just to get in there and kind of like just snip away. Let's go for it. That combination is a game changer. I got pizza.
Delicious.
Buddy, your pesto's really good.
Good.
Well done, Buds. In about half an hour, I'm going to feed my family some lovely homemade fish cakes. Crispy on the outside and golden, flakes of beautiful smoked haddock in there. We're going to start with the actual sauce. So I'm going to put 1 white onion, just roughly chopped up, straight into that pan, and we'll start sweating that off just for about 10 minutes. Once you've softened off these onions, I'm going to use a little bit of flour, 1 heaped tablespoon, mix that in to the onions. You can see the onions have taken on a little bit of colour. And then I'm going to go in with 600 millilitres of lovely organic milk. So this will be the basis of your sauce. And not only that, that will become the place where you poach this beautiful side of smoked haddock. So this goes into that liquor, skin side down, and let that just poach away for 5 minutes. So here we got a kilo of Maris pipers just peeled, boiled for like 12, 13 minutes until they're tender, and then drain, let it steam off. And that's really important because we want the potatoes to be dry. Then it's going to hold on to the flakes of the fish. That's what you'll get from a good old Maris piper. Just take a regular potato masher. You don't want it to be super smooth. And then make a little well in the middle. Crack 1 beautiful free-range egg. It holds the whole thing together. And just whisk that up like that. Take that lovely fish Oh, look how it's flaking. Over there like that. Now I'm just going to take the skin and just ease it off. But look at the nice big chunks, look at that. That's what it's all about. And then last but not least, a nice bunch of chives. You can use parsley, you can use basil. I personally think chives are really perfect in this because they're really mild. And then just fold it all up. It's all about keeping as much of the texture of the fish as possible. Look, there's still big chunks of fish in there. So get that into 8 little balls, give or take. Let's wash my hands. So look, a little bit of moisture from your hands is going to help you make these lovely little patties. Now, if you wanted to, you can roast these just like that. You can grill these under the grill. You can do these in a pan. Now, let's make the sauce first. A nice bunch of chives straight in to this lovely milk. So what I want to do now is use the liquidizer. If I'm lucky, I can pour that into here and not splash it everywhere, but that's always debatable. Let's put a few spoons in first. So let's whiz this up until nice and fine. Look at that. That is the most amazing colour. Wow. Get yourself a large non-stick pan. Get that warm. A nice lug of olive oil in there. Get your fish cakes. Let's place them in the pan. Be delicate with them. You don't want to break them up. Let the oil just move around the pan and keep them jiggling a little bit. Let's turn these around. Look at that golden sizzling colour. Wow. About 4 or 5 minutes on each side. It's just a thing of beauty. Get that lovely sauce back in a pan to reheat it. Garnish this with some chives. Let's plate one up. I'm gonna have a little cheeky taster. Take that nice big fat fish cake like that. I've got a little chive flour that I'll just sprinkle over the top. A kiss of olive oil, wedge of lemon, and that is a beautiful homemade fish cake. Let's get amongst it. Let's have a squeeze up. Lemon juice. Bosh. Nick a bit of that sauce. Look at that. Come on. Oh, man. Right, who's the greediest person in the family?
Me!
Petra, give me your plate, sweet pea. I've given you 2 little ones because you're special. I'm going to give you the most incredible chocolate cake. It is so easy, so delicious. It's going to be crisp on the outside, oozy on the inside, and it's going to make you happy for sure. Now, here's the thing. There's not as many eggs as usual around, so I've literally rewritten the recipe now without eggs. This is an eggless chocolate tart, cake. It's going to be amazing. You love it. I'm not sure what it is yet, but it's good. So here we've got 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of chocolate, 200 grams of nuts. Now I'm using hazelnuts, but it could be almonds, it could be pecans, it could be cashew nuts. Then I'm using 200 grams of self-raising flour, 200 millilitres of milk, and then 200 grams of sugar. Right, let's do it. So we're going to start with the nuts. This goes into the food processor. We're going to whiz this up. We got 200 grams of chocolate and break it in. Super easy. In it goes. Then we can go in with the butter. Then the flour. A pinch of salt. Important. And then 200 mils of milk. And then 200 grams of sugar. So all of it goes in. So, all done. Just clean up the edge. So I am going to just take a little bit of greaseproof paper. This stops the sponge sticking to the tray. Now, if you haven't got this, a bit of oil of any type or butter, right? Give it a good old rub up, right? Like this. And then take a little bit of flour, like that. And you can make your own non-stick tray by shaking this around. There ain't nothing sticking to that. Your own homemade non-stick, okay? Adjusting, ducking, diving. That's what we're doing. So, scrumple up this. Like that, unscrumple it, put that in our tray. So, in we go. Now, like any cake, if you wished to pimp your ride,
you can put a few dried fruit bits in there. Sour cherries are particularly good with chocolate, but of course it could be raisins, apricots, stuff like that. You know, things like tinned pears, delicious, come on. You know, little, flakes of nuts. Just feel that you can kind of embellish this a little bit. So look, get all of that sponge out of there. Sort of just shake it down like this into the corners. Look at that. Equal it out, every last bit, and that, my friends, is it. So that's going to go in the oven. Now the oven is at 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the oven for 18 minutes exactly if you want it nice and oozy. And then I'll show you what to do next. But I'll tell you one thing, it's going to make you happy. Yes, it will. Okay, so the 18 minutes are up. The room smells amazing. Come on, look at that. Oh, come on. That, my friends, is beautiful. And if you give it a little shake, can you see the wobble on that? So that is a good sign. So you can see that it's crispy and spongy here and a bit softer and oozy here. Right, let's do this. So as I take it out the tray, it's gonna crack and smash up. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And what you can do is just get a little bit more chocolate if you've got some around. Someone will definitely have a stash, and just grate some chocolate on the top, and that'll just melt in the most beautiful way. Okay, so let's serve it up. Look, it's almost like a hot pudding now. And I just take the spoon like that, get under it. Gorgeous. You see how oozy that is? Beautiful. And then a little bit of yogurt. I think the fresh yogurt with the oozy chocolate is really nice. And then if there's a bit of that old chocolate again, we'll just have a little grate up. So there you go. Come and have a look at this. So look, it's firm there, kind of almost chocolate ganache custard there. Ripple that with a little bit of the yogurt. Come on, Eileen. Oh, yeah. So what we're going to do today is a really simple, really delicious veggie quesadilla. This is basically like a Mexican cheese on toast. So this is also a brilliant way to get veggies in the kids. So today in the fridge, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I haven't got loads and loads in the fridge. You know, I've got like one chicken, bunch of veg, bit of fruit. I haven't got everything that I need to make this, and that's good, right? So I haven't got spring onions or onions, I've got leeks. And a little tip, if you just take the sort of outer part of the leeks out, and by the way, we'll waste nothing. The inner part, the white part of the leek, is very delicate and very equivalent to a spring onion. We're never going to waste that. That will go into soups and stews and nice things like that. So that's the first part. We've got just standard red peppers. We'll just sort of split these in half and remove the seeds, of course. If you haven't got fresh peppers, jarred like antipasti peppers are really, really good as well. This is an opportunity for you to get all kinds of lovely things in here. So you could just dice up some tomatoes, squeeze out the pips. I'm going to grate in some carrot as well. You know, you can do things like grilled veggies that you chop up, even broccoli and stuff like that. So with the leeks, what I want to do is just finely slice those like that. So with the peppers, I quite like seeing like little dices of the peppers. Just slice them up into little lengths, and then we'll slice the other way. So look, you can also use a box grater just to grate the veg. This will be the half of our filling. Now the other part of our filling is cheese. Cheese is really important. That's kind of like the glue that makes everything stick together and makes that lovely ooziness. So I'm going to grate some cheddar in. So we'll have a little grate up, and it's really nice to blend your cheeses actually. Of course, in Mexico they wouldn't use cheddar, but cheddar, red Leicester, they really do melt beautifully and they taste delicious. A nice wodge of it. I think always like 50-50 looks pretty good, right? What I tend to do is I'll rattle this up, I'll mix it up. So normally you put coriander in this if you were going to kind of stay on point. Mint is really, really good. So herbs in there, just parsley and a little bit of mint. So that's nice. So what I love about this recipe is I haven't actually met anyone that doesn't like it. Everyone seems to like quesadillas.
I think I must just chip in. The good thing about this is it's that same old boring hidden veg thing. So children will eat this because sometimes they have no clue what's in it.
But
Yeah.
I've just knocked up a couple of very simple salads out the back. Can you make the dressing, please?
Yeah.
You know the drill, don't you?
There's a jam jar out there somewhere.
I'm just adding a little bit more cheese just as I go, because actually it's quite a large proportion of veg here. And look, you have to have the right amount of cheese, otherwise it just won't ooze and it won't stick. Stack, looking good. Now I can whack on this gas and we'll start to cook, because we're actually having this for lunch, aren't we, Jay?
Yeah.
Right then, you lovely folks. A kind of medium high heat. So I'm going to put the quesadillas into a dry pan, good non-stick pan you need for this. I don't want to add any more oil. I like it to be crisp and fresh and have all the kind of unctuous filling inside. You don't want the pan too hot, because then what happens is the tortillas go brown and crisp, and then the inside is just cold and raw. So you want the perfect kind of speed. So medium heat, golden brown, both sides. That should be nice. So let's have a little look at this. Wow, look at that. Really nice. They're nice and toasty. You can see what's happening on the inside. It's all starting to melt slowly, so it's still got a bit more time. Oh, it's going nice. Look at that in there, babe. So these are in about 3 minutes on each side. Let's have a little look inside. Yes! Woo. Turn that out. I can put the next one on, like that. What's important is to let this cool down for at least a minute. Just let it cool down, because it's molten lava in there. It's too runny, too hot, you'll burn your mouth. And then uncook another one. And then basically there's like a kind of constant supply of delicious quesadillas coming out at their best. So I'll cut this into like quarters or eighths. So I'm gonna rack out these quesadillas. I think they look beautiful. Jules, are you happy with this, girl?
Yeah, it's amazing, really nice.
We're gonna serve this with the hummus, with the yogurt instead of the sour cream. If you've got sour cream, brilliant. If you haven't got hummus, you can either make it with tinned chickpeas, or you could have a guacamole, or you can make a tomato salsa. But it's a very, very flexible dish. Look how lovely and hot and steamy that is. Gorgeous. So there you go, beautiful quesadillas. Guys, do you like it?
Yay!
Have a go. It's quite nice with food to go back to old friends. And this old friend, well, he's a little bit of a dirty old friend, but I love him. We're gonna make homemade pizza, and I'm gonna make it from just store-cupboard ingredients. It's an easy recipe, and you can knock it out in about 15 minutes, so it's super quick. So let's make a beautiful deep pan pizza from scratch that is so simple and so delicious, you're gonna have a go at home, I can promise you. So, pan on, medium high heat. First of all, we're gonna start with sausage. I've got 2 lovely Cumberland sausages. Use whatever sausages you've got. Of course, the better the quality, the better the flavour. I'll go into the pan with just a little bit of olive oil or sunflower oil or whatever you've got. And then I'll get the sausage, grasp it, and then squeeze the meat from inside out. So you're basically going to get these beautiful little mini sort of meatballs. So I'm just going to have a little hand wash with some of these sausages. Right, we can break one up, so you get like almost little mince-meaty bits. I'm going to leave a couple sort of in nice big chunks, but rough and ready, we like that. You can see it kind of getting some colour on it. Now, at this point in the story, what I can do is add some store cupboard herbs, you know, so like mixed herbs or some oregano, whatever you've got. Just put that in the fat and it will start sizzling away. So next up, 2 onions. So just half and peel your onions and finely sliced. So in we go with the onions, and they will start sucking up all that beautiful flavour already. Oh, it smells amazing already. Come on. When these onions start to soften, I want to add a little something else to it, and that is some jalapeno. So I've got it in the jar, and what I'm going to do is just pour some of that vinegar in to give it a nice little kind of sweet and sour vibe, and a little spice. So that's going to add to the flavour, and then we'll put jalapenos in there as well. So that's on a medium heat now, and as that just continues to cook and get even better and better, let me show you how to make this beautiful pizza base. It is so simple. And this is bigging up another store cupboard ingredient, self-raising flour, 500 grams, okay?
So get yourself a bowl. If you've got a kilo bag, half of it, give or take. We're going to put in 250 millilitres of water, or basically enough water until it comes together as a dough. Very simple, and a good pinch of salt. 3 ingredients. Just bring together that dough, and you want to create a nice elastic dough. That looks pretty good. A little bit more. So can you see how, look at that. In literally 1 minute, we've created quite a moist, sort of elastic dough, outrageously quick. So there you go, that is your dough. And then here is your topping. That goes on my board because I only want to wash one thing up. Yes, it's not just convenience and deliciousness. Also, I don't want to wash up much. So I'm going to take this dough, carefully, without touching the hot pan, of course, push this pizza in the pan out, just like that. So you can see how springy this dough is. And actually, the heat is still on a medium heat, right? I'm cooking this dough now, okay? So this is part of the cheat. And then I'm gonna come along and I'm gonna put the topping back on top and push the topping all over the place, right to the edges. Now, normally there'd be like mozzarella over the top. Well, if you haven't got that, what have we got? We've got cheddar. So we'll have cheddar, we'll take that. We wanna be flexible now, right? So whatever you've got, you can get it in there. And I quite like kind of getting little bombs of it, small bits, chunks of it. You can get a grater if you want and put a little dusting over the top. It doesn't matter. This will be a beautiful thing. A few more bits of jalapeno just to kind of, you know, make a point. So I'm going to turn the heat up to about medium-high now, and then I'll cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes until there's a little crust starting to form, which is about now. Let's put that in the oven at full whack for about 10 to 30 minutes until it's crisp, golden and sizzling. So this has had about 10 minutes. Oh, come on. Look at that, sizzling away. Such a great little cheat. Get your spatula in there, take it off. Look at that. So good. Absolutely lovely. Ah, yes. Brilliant. Crispy base, fluffy inside. So good. So the recipe I'm going to show you now is a delicious cauliflower cheese mac and cheese. Absolutely scrumptious. And it's all about getting the good stuff in a classic comfort food dish. So of course, cauliflower is the king. Got a little heart of celery and 2 leeks. I've got 1 random bit of fennel, but that's not, you know, you don't have to use it. Me and Jules just want to show you how we're kind of doing nice food and cooking with what we've got, what's available. Let's start off here. I've already taken the liberty to cook my pasta. So the same pan, I'm now going to put on a heat, and I'll start adding these veggies here, and I'll chop that up and we'll start adding to the pans. The butter will go in. I'm going to fry off these lovely veggies. And then the celery can go in, and then the fennel. It is in the supermarket. If you do see it, have a try, it's delicious. So we'll fry that off. Now let's talk about the cauliflower. So cut it in half and cut it into florets like this. Often that's what you see, which means that nearly 1/3 of the actual cauliflower is over here going in the bin. Finely slice these leaves. Let this fry off for about 5 minutes and soften up. And then what we want to do is add the flour that turns it into a thickened sauce. Just use regular plain flour, about 1 heaped tablespoon. We'll mix that in, that will start to suck up all the fat from the butter. And then we're gonna slowly add milk. I have only got 1 full bottle of this left and half a bottle. I know for a fact I'd get a rollicking from Jules if I put a whole one of these in here now, because we haven't got much. So I'm gonna put half milk, half water. So now I'm putting, you know, the rest that I need, water. Okay, so let that boil now and simmer and cook it out for about 5 minutes just to soften all the veggies. And then I'm gonna season it up now. I'll adjust it later with some nice pepper, a little bit of salt, and then for flavor and color, a heaped teaspoon of English mustard. Stir that in. So let's just carry on now with the cauliflower here. Just get your cauliflower florets, slice them up into beautiful little chunks. Now it's time to talk about the cheese. This is what we've got in our fridge right now. Because I kind of grab and put things back, I've got odds and ends of Parmesan. I've got a tiny little quarter of cheddar. I've got some halloumi, which I've only quarter used, and a chunk of feta. So I'm just gonna have a little grate up. So the sauce is blipping away beautifully. We now turn it off, and the cheese goes in, and I'll put most of it in, apart from a little bit to go on top. So the pasta goes in with the cauliflower here. Frankly, you can use whatever pasta you want. What I have to do now is wazz this up. You can use a hand blender, a food processor, or a liquidizer. So, I'll be back in a second. Liquidized it, lovely people. That's what it looks like. So in with the sauce. So look, mix up your lovely sauce. Now, you've probably been wondering what this is. This is starchy cooking water, okay? And this is from the pasta. If it's a bit wetter than you expect, then by the time it's baked, then it's going to absorb into that pasta and it will be just blippy and saucy and gorgeous. I'll just put some cheese on top. What we could do is take a waste product that is one of the most wasted products in the whole of Britain, and that's bread. And every time I've got away from stray, I just pop it in the window, let it go stale. Literally, once it's properly stale, that's what you get. Just get a tea towel. What you can do is give it a good bash. And we're gonna create breadcrumbs. In here is just straight breadcrumbs, but here I've got some herbs that I've got in little pots. Thyme here, lovely, oregano or marjoram, and some rosemary. You could put in dried herbs, no trouble at all. I'm going to use some garlic, beautiful. So a little bit of oil goes in, and that just kind of allows the natural flavours to come out of the herbs, and it will make the breadcrumbs really golden. There you go, a beautiful tray bake, mac and cheese, bigging up cauliflower and all those veggies. About an hour before lunch, I'll whack that in the oven at about 180 degrees Celsius, and then I'll cook it for about 50 minutes until it's blipping and crispy and gorgeous. Wow!
Yummy.
Look at that. Okay, should we serve up?
Yes. Yeah.
Go on, buds.
Thank you.
Woohoo! What do you reckon, kids? Took Mum down ages.
So guys, what do you reckon? Cauliflower mac and cheese? Try it. I think you like it. So the recipe I'm going to show you today is my take on a ratatouille. Now ratatouille, weirdly, the classic French veg dish, is one of the most searched dishes on the internet at the moment. Why? I think it's because you've got a load of veg you don't know what to do with. So let me give you my version that I think is really flexible, really open to taking whatever you've got. I'm going to serve it on a puff pastry base, so it's kind of like a posh pizza, and the kids love it, I love it, I think you're going to love it.
Do you want this on your pizza?
No, thank you. Put it back. Thank you very much. Love you. A classic French ratatouille would be courgettes, peppers of all colours, onions, aubergine. I haven't got aubergines. I've only got a yellow pepper here, but I have got asparagus, old courgette. I've got leeks instead of onions. I've got a squash and a cauliflower. Mine's kind of like a grilled veg ratatouille. We make a base tomato sauce, slice up about 6 cloves of garlic, go in with some olive oil, and I'm going to put the garlic in. I'm going to put in some basil leaves, 2 tins of tomatoes. I'm just going to put a bit of water in these tins, and in they go. So Jules is breaking up the tomatoes. That is the basic tomato sauce. That will receive the veggies. Let's start with the courgette. So run your knife down so it's like quarters. Put it into a dry pan on a high heat. If you had a barbecue, use it. If you had a griddle pan, use it. I'm going to do exactly the same with the leeks, and then I'll just cut it so it fits the pan. Now this scalding, instead of it being kind of oily and sweet, it kind of scalds. It gives you a smokiness and it gives you a nuttiness. And that, when mixed with the tomato sauce, gives you the most incredible dish. You could even use, if you wanted to, frozen cauliflower and still char it up in here and still stew it up in there. So it's all good. I'll just cut the peppers into quarters. The asparagus can go in whole. with the cauliflower, take off the little florets. I'm only going to use about 1/4 of this. And then slice these into 1 centimetre slices. Just like that. When these are kind of all nicely charred, what I want you to do is remove these from the hot scalding pan. So now these are out, I'll replace them with these veggies. So it's like a little factory line. Now, down here, I'm going to slice it about 1 centimetre across, and we'll simply stir it in, and it's going to be delicious. So just continue charring up the veg in the dry pan, and as soon as it's nice and scalded, then just chunk it up and add it to the tomato sauce. So as that simmers away nicely, that'll cook for about 20-25 minutes. Here, I've got 2 shop-bought puff pastries. One is regular and one is gluten-free, because I've got 2 kids that are gluten-free. To get them out of the pack, unroll them, and then get it on the tray, and even keep it on the paper that it comes in. So I'm gonna get myself a regular eating knife, and about 1 inch away from the edge, just very lightly score it. So do that to the other one. Now, at this point, I can get some olive oil and just give it a nice little drizzle and just give it a little rub all over. Now with these 2 bases, I'm going to whack them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius until nice and lightly golden. Okay, so these 2 beauties are done. I nearly overcooked the gluten-free one if the kids were running around, what can I say? So if you can have a little look here, you can see where I did the little line, and I'm going to push it in. Okay, and the reason that is because I'm going to fill it with our beautiful version of a ratatouille. So now the veggies are nice and soft and tender and cooked. This will be amazing in so many different ways. Now we do need to balance the flavour, and the way to do that is a little tablespoon of vinegar. So red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, whatever you've got to hand. Then a good couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Tear some of these beautiful basil leaves, and then just simply season it to taste. Then you could toss that in pasta. You could put it in lasagna. You could turn this into a soup simply by adding some stock. So because I know River will be a pain in the backside, we're going to blend it up. So I'll do one with and one without, and just show you the flexibility of this dish. That's done. And then on the gluten-free one, I will put this sauce. So look, there is gluten-free pizza with a pureed sauce. This is my puff pastry one. It's a brilliant way to use up veg. If you wanted to put a little smoky bacon in this, you could. Or some tuna, olives, capers, happy days. Right, just take the veggies to the edge.
Feta.
Be amazing. Of course, you could use a mozzarella, you could use a feta like Jules suggested. I'm going to use some British cheeses, and these will melt beautifully. So last few little bits of basil. Nice. So just in the oven for 10 minutes. Just to melt that cheese and heat it all up. Delicious.
Lunchtime!
Ho, 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 ho. Wowzers. Look at that. That was a hit with the family, guys. You happy? Yeah. Okay, onwards and upwards. Enjoy. Things like rice, tin tomatoes, beans, chickpeas, spices, herbs, all of that stuff. You can make great things. And one of my favourite things to do with all of that is a good chilli. A really good chilli where you can get loads of veggies in there. It's proper delicious. So look, first job, the base of this chilli. Get yourself a nice onion, peel it and roughly chop it. Now, if you haven't got an onion, maybe you got a leek, you could use spring onions. Again, we can swap these things out, guys. No problem, let's be flexible. So hot pan, so the onions go in, like that. Hot pan, I'm going to use 2 cloves of garlic. Just slice it up any old how, doesn't really matter. Garlic goes in. It sounds exciting already. We're going to go chili. So I'm just going to kind of roughly finely slice it. So look, I'm probably going to use that much. If you've got any leftover chili, right, 2 things I can do. Throw them in the freezer. They're really good. You can grate them over things. Or just put them in the salt like this. And it kind of just stops it kind of going minging and mouldy, right? And then you can use it the next day. So, chili goes in like that. Let's get some spice into your life. So take a teaspoon, and I want level teaspoons, right? We want to go easy on the spice. So cinnamon goes in, and then a level teaspoon of cayenne pepper or smoked paprika, delicious. And then we've got the cumin. Get a wooden spoon and then just stir it up. Now guys, if you want to get mega flavour out of veg, make it big and robust, then this part is really important. Have a look what's happening in that pan, right? We're bringing out the natural sugars in the onion. And it's not just onion that has natural sugars. Carrots have it, squash have it, peppers have it too. So even with the peppers here, get your thumb and just thumb it, right? And then that way is the best way to tear out these lovely chunks like this. So we'll get rid of the seeds and we won't waste any of these little bits here. Don't want to waste anything. And we'll do the same with the yellow pepper. So I want to roughly chop these up into like kind of 2 centimetre chunks. And this is just the beginning of the story. It's going to get better and better and better. And the most important thing for me with a chili is there's kind of an obsession by throwing in the wet stuff now, early, right? That's where the big problem is. Do not get those tin tomatoes in there too early. What we want to do is what you can see there, right? We want to slowly fry. We want to caramelize the veg. That's going to earn you massive, massive flavour points. So let's have a little toss up. Look at that, it smells amazing. We'll keep stirring it. And then I want to get some coriander stalks. So any stalks of fresh herbs that you've got, it could be mint, basil, or coriander. I'm using coriander today. Just finely slice those stalks out, because often they end up in the bin, but they're full of flavour. So if you haven't got fresh herbs, please don't worry. This recipe is flexible to what you've got in your pantry and your fridge, okay? So stir in the coriander. And we're going to cook this for about 10-15 minutes on a medium-high heat to get really intense and delicious. Now, if you sweet potato, of course you could use a normal potato. Of course you could use squash, okay? Again, swap outs are important. The sweet potato, I think, is delicious. It counts as one of your 5 fruit and veg a day. We want to get the veggies in you guys to keep you healthy, to keep you optimal. So sweet potatoes, yum. I'm just going to clank them up into like 1-inch chunks. Then I've got the oven on at 200 degrees Celsius, and I'm just going to kiss these with a touch of oil, a good pinch of salt and pepper, and then a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cayenne pepper, and here's a little bit of cumin. Now give these a little toss, right? And it will stick to it, and as that roasts for about an hour, right, that is going to be delicious. So it's had about 10-15 minutes, it's shrunk down, it smells incredible. Now we can think about adding beans, tomatoes, stuff like that. So as far as beans are concerned, these are brilliant. But whatever you can think of or got, use that. So 1 tin, juice and all, will go in. That's your protein, incredibly important, you know, for your nutrition if you're not eating meat. We're going to put in some chickpeas as well. We'll go juice and all. Chickpeas are amazing. They suck up all the flavour. Then we're going to get the tomatoes in there. I like to use whole plum tomatoes if possible, but you can use the chopped or the passata. Please don't worry. So 2 tins of plum tomatoes I will use. And then what I like to do is just rinse out the tin with just a little bit of water. And we're good to go. That chili is going to be fantastic. So give it a nice little stir up and then break up some of those tomatoes, and they'll continue to disintegrate as you simmer away for about 20-25 minutes until it's delicious and unctuous. It's going to be so, so good. I might give it a little kiss of seasoning now. And then, importantly, what are we going to have it with? Flatbreads? Could be delicious, but rice is the thing for me. It just makes me feel good. So I'm going to get a pan on, and then I'm going to get a regular builder's mug, and I'll fill that with basmati rice, so another classic store-cupboard ingredient. And what we do is we go 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. It works every single time, and we call it the absorption method because the rice will just absorb that exact amount of liquid. And it will give you light, fluffy, fresh, nutty rice. So a pinch of salt, lid on, get that thundering away. That'll be ready in 12 minutes and you can just switch it off. This will tick away for another sort of 20-25 minutes. Time for a little clean down. So here we go, guys. After 20 minutes, it's looking like this, thick and gorgeous looking. The rice is steamy and done. Can you see all the little holes that come through? So that is going to be beautiful and fluffy. Let's plate some up, but not before we get the sweet potatoes out. So these have had just under an hour. Oh, come on, look at that. They've shrunk up. Look at the crispy skins as well. They're going to be amazing. So I'm literally going to put those straight in. And what's nice is they all kind of almost rehydrate with the chili sauce. Just gorgeous. So one of the great things about sweet potatoes, you know, like pumpkin and squash, is they'll keep a long time in your home. You get them in soups, stews, you know, make nice little oven chips, stuff like that. Absolutely delicious. So we're good to go now, guys. Let's turn it off. Always an important time to taste your food. Correct the seasoning, if need be. Delicious. Now, if you want to kind of give it a little bit of a pick-me-up, you could use some herbs, for sure. Any soft herbs, just a little gesture of it, roughly chopped up, would be lovely. A little swig of vinegar, or lime juice, or lemon juice, really helps a dish like this, which is quite savoury and a little bit spicy. So I'll just put a little squeeze of lime in there, but literally use what you've got to hand. And then, let's plate up. So get your rice, get a fork, and give it a nice little fluff up. So a nice wad on the plate. Look at that, fluffy. Of course, you can go for brown rice as well. Very, very nice. And then we want that chili. Big chunks of that sweet potato. So good. Then you've got the beans. Really nice. Massive plate of food. Loads of goodness. And for me, the thing that I really want to have with it is a nice little splurge of yogurt. It could be sour cream, you know, whatever you've got available to you. And if you've got a few bits of coriander, happy days. So whether it's rice or tortilla wraps, or, you know, swap one veg out for another, or slip a bit of meat in or not, it's a very, very generous, flexible recipe that I think you're gonna love. Right, look, enough yapping. I love a good chili. What I love is the sweetness you get from the peppers, but then the hunks of sweet potato and the crispy skin, and that little bit of fluffy rice. So, so good. So today is a very, very special day. It's little baby Petal's birthday. She's 11 years old. I haven't got everything that I would normally have to do a birthday cake, but the fundamentals are here. It's an amazing chocolate cake that is so simple, so reliable, so delicious. Now let's just start the story. I've got some golden caster sugar here. I only had 130 grams. I've literally run out of sugar, and then I made it up with 70 grams of icing sugar. So it doesn't matter if you go from white sugar, golden sugar, icing sugar, it's all good, guys. So 200 grams of that. Then I've got 200 grams of butter going straight in. In this pan, I've got an inch of water, and I'm bringing it to a simmer. Just put a bowl on top of that. Don't let it touch the water. And we're going to melt the butter, the sugar, and the chocolate. Normally I would say 70% cocoa solids, but guys, 200 grams of the best chocolate you can get your hands on. Although I kind of got a feeling that there's a fair amount of chocolate in the cupboards around the country. So let this melt for about 5 or so minutes. Give it a stir every now and again. It's going to be amazing. While that's doing its thing, I have a little heart-shaped mould. I want to show you how you can make it so that the sponge does not stick to the tin. Now you can get some greaseproof paper. I haven't got any. That little bit of leftover butter, just rub that generously around the edge. A tablespoon of flour into this, knock it around, and you see how it's sticking to the butter. And that will protect your cake. Give it a tap out. So that is ready and raring to go. The next stage, we're going to add to this bowl the chocolate. So have a look at that. The butter, the chocolate and the sugar has all melted. All of that chocolate goes in, every last bit. Use a spatula for this, guys. So after a couple of minutes, this chocolate mix would have cooled down a nice little bit. We're going to add 6 eggs. Crack those in. And then we'll go from a spatula to a whisk. So I'm going to stand up for this. It's now going to do beautiful things, right? We'll whisk in that first egg, and then we'll crack in the second. Next one. Wow. Last but not least, egg number 6. So that's the basis for the most amazing chocolate cake. What we can do at this stage is flavour it. So I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla paste or extract. And then I'm thinking chocolate orange. All you need, literally all you need, is 2 or 3 little gratings of orange. To give it the structure, I've got 200 grams of
self-raising gluten-free flour. If you don't need to be gluten-free, just use the regular self-raising flour. For now, Petal is gluten sensitive. I'll sift that in. I'm just going to now fold this flour into the mix. Chocolatey gorgeousness. And I'm going to pour this into our mould. We will bake that for about 50 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius. And then I'll show you what to do next. So I now have a new cameraman, and that's little Buddy. Come around here, Buds. Mum's gone to do some jobs. River's running around, so it could go into chaos now. But the buttercream part of this recipe is very, very simple. So, bro, back to your posts. So I have melted, in the same fashion, over a little water bath, 200 grams of chocolate again. Just get right, be really curious, Buddy. I've just used any chocolate I can get my hand on. Sit at the end if you want. Come sit here. Yes.
Dad, can I have a little bit of lick?
Yeah, you can have a lick in a second. 200 grams of icing sugar. Then we're going to go in with our chocolate here.
Dad, can I have a lick of chocolate?
Are you going to be a good boy? Be a good boy, I know. I'm going to go in with 200 grams of butter. Yeah, Buddy's so jealous right now.
I'll have the bowl.
No, that's all I've got. That's all I've
Can I
got.
have the bowl?
You can have the bowl. There you go. That's your bowl. You can have that later. So I need actually a spatula, but that's got spit all over it.
Let's go get some. Let's go get
Can I have a spatula? River
Where should I sit?
is like chaos. So now what we're going to do is just mix it all together.
I want chocolate.
No, there's a camera, darling. There's a camera.
I got chocolate for it.
A little pinch of salt. Okay, so guys, that is the buttercream. Yes. Guys, come on. Just let it cool down. Once it's got to room temperature, in about an hour's time, I'll show you how to fill it and dress it. So this is all very exciting. The cake has now cooled down, and sometimes it kind of souffles in the oven and then it sags. You can see it's done that now. Please do not worry about that at all, okay? You can do one of two things. Go with it and just fill that gap, no trouble at all. I'm going to do that. Or you can just trim it off. So we're going to put that on our platter. Here we have our lovely buttercream. Look at that. And almost butter it will be amazing. Look, put some raspberries in there. Cover up 1,000 sins. Do you think it looks like a heart, buddy?
Oh yeah, it looks like a heart.
Let's try and get birthday right. Put that chocolate up to your side. Get a flat knife and just drag it towards you. All the little folds. So Jules, we're done.
That is amazing. Yes, you can go mad.
So there you go. Lovely birthday cake. Breathe. What do you reckon, Pets?
It's really good.
You like
It's
it?
so nice.
Recipe that I want to share with you now is a beautiful version of a fish pie. It's thrifty and it's delicious, and I call it sweet pea fish pie. It's so good. It's heroing most of the ingredients from over there, the freezer. Things like vegetables are amazing in the freezer. I'm using spinach and peas, and then fish. You can have it sitting there in the freezer waiting for you to cook something delicious with it. And there's many methods of cooking, especially when it's in a nice sauce or it's kind of baked, where frozen fish really can be fantastic. And as long as you get something nice and sustainable, you're laughing. So I have 300 grams of salmon and 300 grams of white fish. And if you look in the freezer aisles, you'll see some really good frozen fish. So in a pan we go, and I'll cover that with 500 millilitres of milk, and I'll just simmer it to poach it until it flakes. So about 10 minutes. So this recipe's great at kind of swapping in different fish and making do and stretching fish a long way. Now, what I want to do is show you how I make the most delicious mashed potato topping. I've got a kilo of potatoes that are peeled, just cut into chunks, boiling away for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to use the second freezer ingredient, and that's 400 grams of frozen peas. Okay, so just put them in there for a minute. Happy days. These can go back in the freezer. That's the great thing about the freezer, isn't it? Just use what you need straight back in there. I'll drain it straight away. So over we go to the sink. So in this pan here, we're going to make the most amazing cheesy sauce, full of the good stuff. I've got 2 onions, finely chopped, and 2 carrots, finely chopped, just in a little bit of olive oil. And I've let those slowly fry for like 10 minutes just to soften. So what I want to do now is to thicken the sauce. 60 grams of flour goes into that pan. And then mustard, another store cupboard ingredient. I like a good teaspoon. It's not hot, you just get a nice flavour from it. Stir it in. And then the liquid that we need is going to come from there, the poaching liquor. So I'll just take a little spoon, nick a little bit of that milk, just steal a little bit of that liquid like that, and mix it around. So the fish has already flavoured the milk, which is all going to add to the flavour of the whole dish. As it absorbs the milk, then we get the spoon and take a bit more. And it makes the most delicious sauce. You can see it thickening up, and it smells amazing already. The colour from the mustard is very, very good. In that last little bit of milk, like that, you can see here, if I show you the fish, can you see how lovely this salmon will just poach? Look, it's just falling apart. Really nice, gorgeous. I absolutely love good quality frozen fish. It's handy. Can you see how lovely this sauce looks? It's really, really good. So, the third frozen ingredient is frozen spinach. 100 grams go in, and again, frozen spinach is so brilliant to have in the freezer. It's particularly good for soups, in the stews for the last kind of half an hour, really nice. Amazing in curries, amazing in curries. And if you think about it, the amount of spinach in this bag would be like a pillowcase worth, right? Because it's all been blanched and it's been squashed into these little kind of pellets. And if you just put it straight in a hot sauce like this, it starts to melt, and then you get spinach flavoured sauce, which is going to be absolutely gorgeous. So look, the nice thing about this recipe is you can use whatever fish you can get your hands on, fresh or frozen, but I just think frozen fish is brilliant if you use it in the right way. And in a dish like this, it's the perfect way. Now, a little optional extra to give it real delicious flavour, cheese. So a nice little grating of cheddar cheese I think is really, really good, but literally use what you've got to hand. You can use it almost like a seasoning. So sort of 40, 50 grams. Look at that. So next up, lemon juice. Just half a lemon going in there, I think is delicious. So if you haven't got lemon, that's fine. But just a little squeeze of lemon like that just lifts the whole story. I love it. So the sauce is now done. I'll have a little taste. Delicious, so good. A little salt and a nice little hit of pepper, but good to check your seasoning. You can see here with the fish, we can just break it up into chunks like that, and we can just get that in. And of course, if you had different fish, that's fine. You can duck and dive, and I think these times, that's what it's about, right? Being flexible, being agile in your recipes, and you know, you want to kind of be able to do good cooking no matter what. So look, that looks incredible. Let's do the topping, because I think this is one of the best bits. And actually, as far as my kids are concerned, right, it's all about the potatoes and the peas. So let's get a masher. Let's get a nice knob of butter. A pinch of salt and pepper, and then have a good old mash up. Just keep rattling away, and then we'll put it on top. I mean, for me, for all the parents up and down the country, always trying to get more veggies into their kids, you know, this is a good way. But it's also blooming good for the adults too. So what I tend to do is just take a little bit of our topping and lay it on the top like this. I don't throw it all on top because you don't want to displace all the lovely sauce. So sort of evenly distribute the potato here. So look, here we go. That colour is just brilliant. And once you've done that, just use the spoon just to sort of move it around and sort of go up the edges. Look at that. So you can make it rough and ready, you can fork it up, you can do nice little turns. Because as this cooks, it's gonna go golden and blippy and bubbling, and that lovely sauce is gonna find its way out. It's gonna be extraordinary, and I can prove it to you because I did one earlier, right? Check this out. Come on. Look at that. Crispy on the top, all the juices kind of baking their way out. Let's get that down. Let's have a little portion up. Come on, get in there. Oh, look at that. Beautiful chunks of fish. Absolutely delicious. Really simple, good, honest grub. You know, stuff that makes you really happy. Come on, let's have a little try. So good. You would never know that was frozen fish. It's so good. It's a clever, delicious, thrifty dish. In the freezer, the peas, spinach, and the fish. You know, give it an hour or so and you can have this. Joy. This is a great dish. We're gonna do a beautiful mushroom cannelloni with a gorgeous, oozy, cheesy sauce. If you've got someone in your house that completely disagrees with any kind of meat-free day, this recipe is probably quite a good one to get them on, because if this is made right, they probably wouldn't even notice the difference, right? Because this has the depths of flavour that you'd get from a lovely cannelloni. The residual moisture in these greens will just steam and wilt. This will take like 30, 40 seconds. That can then go in the bottom of our tray. Just a little kiss of salt. Right, that's the beginning of the story. Let's get on to business. So in this pan, I want to cook down leeks, which I love, and onions. Olive oil. We'll go straight in with the onions. And then as I prep each vegetable, just add it to the story. So a little bit of pepper. I've got some garlic. Just finely slice it up. Right, let's get on to leeks. Just slice up the white part straight in there. With the greener stuff, I tend to chop this up finer anyway, just to help it cook. And then we're going to add the mushrooms. Right, big boy, we're making cannelloni. Give it a little seasoning with salt and pepper. If you want to make this extraordinary, just 15 minutes of stirring and frying will be amazing.
Yes.
Go and find your mad brother.
Okay.
Stuffing's done. So chop that up, and then it just feels so homemade, and you get more texture. If you lay it out flat, let that cool down. Let me make a really simple white sauce. In the same pan that we made the mushrooms, go in with 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons also of plain flour. You don't have to make it with butter. Classically, yes, but in real life, no. Olive oil's fine. Looks a bit like breadcrumbs, but this is a thickening agent. In there, we're gonna add some milk. I'm just gonna add it slowly, slowly. That's quite a rushed version. That's what I always do at home. You know, I've got a family here to feed. There's stuff going on. So look, as the white sauce does its magic, let's fill these cannellonis. So literally all I do is stab around like that and then turn it around, do the other half. It's as simple as that. And that is your beautiful mushroom stuffed cannelloni. Okay, so look, there we go. A tray full of beautiful cannelloni. Off the heat now, because I'm very happy with that consistency, and put a nice big handful of grated cheese in there. I'm using cheddar, a nice big handful goes in. So let's get that over the top here. Look how oozy it is, yeah. And you can see the chunks of leftover mushroom in there. Last but not least, just a few little slices, kind of in and around. And then just a little drizzle of oil. So this will go in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 40 to 45 minutes until golden, blipping and delicious. I can hear it sizzling. So it's at about 40 minutes. The wood oven's just a little bit hotter. Look at that, come on. This kind of cooking is all about family. Look at the crispy bits. Yes. And then of course we added that lovely stack of greens. It's got to be one of the best meat-free meals ever, whether you're vegetarian or not. Right, let's get amongst it. So good. Oh yeah. Kids! Lunch! I'm gonna cook for my family the most brilliant but completely bonkers roast chicken dish. We're gonna marinate it with a kimchi marinade. We're gonna glaze it with a kimchi glaze. And then I'm gonna use this kimchi also to dress like a whole load of vegetables to make the most beautiful rainbow slaw ever. So let's do it. Chicken, you can go aside for 1 minute. First up, the kimchi. I'm gonna put it into a liquidizer, 300 grams, and I'm gonna add some water. 100 mils goes in like that. I'm gonna take some ginger
A nice big fat thumb-sized piece of ginger goes in here with the water, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a hit of olive oil and a swig of vinegar, red or white wine vinegar, and we're going to whiz that up. Full of flavour. So I'm going to use this in 3 ways. So 1/3 in this roasting tray as a marinade, right? And then over here, I'm going to create a glaze. Just take 2 or 3 tablespoons of really nice honey. 1, 2. The honey turns this into a shiny, sticky, tacky glaze. And then this last third, that will become the most incredible dressing for a beautiful rainbow slaw. So let's do it. Chicken into the marinade. This is the time to earn your flavour. Get it in all the cracks and crannies, in between the little wings, around the legs, in the cavity. So let me just wash my hands. Okay, just put a little swig of water in. So the chicken goes in the oven, 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Halfway through, I'll take it out. I'll baste all the beautiful juices on top. I might add a little bit more water, and that's going to be the most beautiful, succulent, crispy skinned chicken ever. So the chicken's had about 1 hour of roasting. I've given it a nice little baste. I want to show you the next part of the story. First up, I'm going to toast some sesame seeds. So just put that on a high heat and just kind of toss it around like this. It doesn't take very long. Look at that. So in this same pan, I'm going to do rice. Get your reliable builder's mug and fill it up with basmati rice. This is perfect for 4 to 6 people. And then 2 mugs of water, tiny little pinch of salt, lid on top, medium-high heat, about 12 minutes, works every single time. Let's get this chicken and let's get to business. Just have a look at this lovely chicken. Wow, come on. So I'm gonna go with the lovely glaze here, and I'm just gonna embellish. Now is the fun bit. You take your everyday chicken and you give it a proper makeover. I love this bit because essentially I'm pebble dashing this lovely glazed chicken with sesame seeds. What I want to do is take that last third of our kimchi sauce and I'm going to take a pack of tofu. I'll whiz it up and that will become the most incredible dressing for a beautiful, crunchy, rainbow veg slaw. It's going to be amazing. The slaw, the rice, the chicken. Come on! So, the tofu gives it an amazing, gorgeous, silky texture. Now, what I'm going to do is just add pre-prepped veg. So now just get your hands in and dress it up. So let's plate it up, fork up that rice. Fantastic, steamy, light rice. Look at that. That is a roast chicken dinner like you've never seen before. Oh, it's just unbelievable. That kimchi has been a flavour gift that has kept on going. Come on, let's get in there. Oh, it's so good. I've come up with a recipe that you could do any day of the week. This is my kind of version of a butter chicken. All of this happens in a pan, so it's a super convenient recipe. Let's get that on a high heat, and then I'm gonna add 700 grams of fresh tomatoes whole. Essentially what I wanna do is scald, char, and blacken the skins of these tomatoes. Already, look at that. Can you see how we're blackening those tomatoes? That's gonna give a char, a smokiness. So just take these tomatoes off the vine. Now, at the same time, as we blacken these, we're gonna do the chilies. Split the chilies in half, and with the tip of the knife, take out the seeds. That's the hottest bit. So in these go. Now, as these tomatoes get black all over, what you'll notice is naturally the skins are starting to peel off. Let's get the last of the chilies on there. Now, let them cool down. If you want, you can cover them just to let them steam a little bit. Right, the marinade. Really, really simple. In a bowl or a nice platter, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of the garam masala. Then I'm gonna take 8 cloves of garlic and just use a grater. Look at that. Then I want a nice big couple of thumb-sized pieces of ginger. Just take a little spoon to scrape the skin off the ginger. Then I'll use the same fine grater to grate the ginger. Okay, so into this, we will season it with salt and pepper. 2 tablespoons of lovely yogurt.
Now, when it comes to the chicken breast, it's almost twice the thickness here at this fat end than this part here at the thin end. So what I'll do is ignore this thin end and about here, start to score it. About 1/2 centimetre to 1 centimetre now thick. This will allow that lovely marinade to penetrate quicker. There's no polite way to marinade. Get that into all the little slits and the cuts. I'm gonna let that marinade for about 10 minutes and have a clean down. Right, let's get cooking the chicken. I'm gonna get this nice and hot. I'll add a little bit of oil to a pan, and then let's put the chicken straight into that hot oil. And I wanna get it dark and golden. So while that's frying away, let's peel these tomatoes. Just take the skins off and the little stalk. The chilies I'll keep to one side. Hey! Buds, do you want to turn the chicken for me, darling? So when it comes to cooking the chicken, we're only going to do it for like 8 to 10 minutes. Well done, mate. So look, we've peeled through all of these little tomatoes, and then you can gather all of these little skins at the end, put them in your hand, and in there, that is pure flavour. You go and wash your hands, big boy. Oh, chicken's looking amazing. Gnarly on both sides and just cooked through perfectly. Right, let's get that on a board. Now let's make the sauce. It's really, really simple. So use all those pan juices there. Let's get the tomatoes and all the juices into the pan. And now in with 2 tablespoons of that cashew butter. That'll cook down pretty quickly and go ruby red. So I've got 500 mils, give or take, of boiling water. So just enough to really help this simmer down and turn into a lovely thick sauce. Just get a fork and just squash all those tomatoes and let that boil vigorously for a couple of minutes. I am gonna put some chili in. The question is, how much? I think what I'm gonna do is just go in with 1.5. If you wanna take the edge off the spice, put like 2 teaspoons of mango chutney. Now what we can do is get that chicken in there, and we want the chicken to be really juicy, right? And I want quite big chunks. I don't want like little wafy bits. And then I'm gonna put this in the sauce and let that chicken simmer. What I'm gonna do now is just spoon 3 tablespoons of yogurt through the sauce, just a little bit of coriander on the top, and that, my friends, is gonna be a beautiful curry. So look, I've got some rice here. I've put some chickpeas in, and then just get it in there. Look at that, big chunks of meat. Let's get amongst it. So, so good. That's good to go. Let's feed the family. So I'm about to make, for my family, a prawn toast toasty. Yes, it's basically a mashup between a toasty that we all love in my house and those beautiful prawn toasts that you get in a Chinese restaurant, right? We've got some lovely uncooked prawns. I've got an egg, ginger, spring onions, some chili dipping sauce, bit of soy sauce, and let's do this. I've got a loaf of bread, get a serrated knife and slice it about 1 centimetre thick. So I want 4 slices. Now the first job is to create the filling. So the filling is super simple. Take yourself 2 spring onions, just trim the ends off, and then just finely slice it. Then we're gonna go in with some ginger. So just like a little 2 centimetre piece, just peel off the outside like that. I keep these trimmings, by the way, just dry them, and they're wicked for making lovely cups of tea, or you can put them in broths and make lovely noodle broths and stuff. Slice it up, you can grate it if you want, and just run your knife through it so it's nice and fine. Then in with the prawns. What I look for is just nice, sustainable prawns. Just pull 4 nice prawns aside. What we're gonna do with this is just slice it all up and then bring it in to the ginger and the spring onions and chop it all together. And then I'm gonna crack 1 egg and put the egg whites into this bowl, and then the yolk will go in the middle here. Just make the whole thing bind together. The only thing I want to do now is just lightly season it with some soy sauce. Just a splash, super simple. Just a little bit of coriander in here will be lovely. And again, just chop it through. So look, next bit could not be easier. Take the bread and we're gonna fill it. So take half of that mix, put it onto the bread. In we go with the stuffing, really load it up. Look at that. Be nice and generous. Okay, so that's good to go. Then place this part on top. So get a fork and just beat up your egg whites so they're nice and loose. And then get your bread, pop it 1 side on the egg whites, 2 sides on the egg whites, and then get your sesame seeds and we're gonna cover it so it all sticks to it. 1 side, press it down, other side. The sesame seeds stick to the bread. And when we toast that, it'll go golden, crispy, and delicious. Time to get the pan on. I want to cook this on a medium heat. I'm going to use a large non-stick pan, and then I want to kind of posh it up a little bit. So I'm going to take a little knife, take that little prawn, and simply cut it in half. And what I want to do is push this in to the actual bread, so the bread and the prawn become one. Oh yes, on top like this. A little bit of oil on top. Look at that. And then straight in to our pan, just like that. Super simple. You can hear it frying already. About 3 minutes on each side until golden, crisp, and delicious. Okay, let me wash my hands. And now, let's check this beautiful prawn toasty. Get under there, have a flick. Hey! Look how crispy that is. So look, that side has had 3 minutes. I'm just gonna go on the prawn side, just for 1 more minute to get it really perfectly golden, and then I'll serve it. Come in, kids, I got prawns! Let's get amongst it. Oh, God, I love it. The ginger, spring onions, prawn, what a combo. But it's the crunch of the sesame seeds and the sweetness of the chili sauce. And it's just everything you love about a prawn toasty. Poppy, you're gonna go nuts for this, like for real. So the idea is you take your little sandwich and dip it aggressively in that chili sauce.
Okay. That's so nice.
Amazing.
Do you want me to teach you how to make it?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a veggie curry, but the way that I cook it and put it together, it turns out like a beautiful rice cake. It's full of colour, full of flavour. So when I first came up with this recipe, it was all about the cauliflower. And it's really nice to single out one vegetable and hero it. But you know what, at the same time, I really want to celebrate lots of different ways to express this dish. So we can do courgettes, we can use some frozen peas. Here, I've got a 28 centimetre non-stick pan on a medium-high heat. We're gonna go in with 2 onions, white or red. So take the skin off, half them, and then just roughly chop them into about 1 centimetre chunks. If you haven't got onions, you could use leeks, you could use spring onions. A little bit of oil goes in, and then the onions go in like that, look at that. So we'll just fry these off for like 5 minutes until nice and softened. So let's get to the veg. Courgettes, for instance, we're just gonna half that, then cut that half in half, and then again, little 1 centimetre chunks. Then we've got the cauliflower. Trim off the lovely cauliflower flowers, about 1.5 centimetres from the flower itself. But then the stalk here, often, this will go in the bin, right? We don't want to do that at all. We don't want to waste it. Also, it's really delicious and super nutritious. Slice it up. So look, these onions are getting nice and soft. Now, in with the tikka paste. This stuff's amazing. We've got layer upon layer of different spices. The smell already is incredible. Then I go in with my veg. Just stir it around, jiggle it, and as we get heat through to those veggies, it will start to shrink down. The flavours will really start to come out. So look, after a couple of minutes, let's go in with our frozen peas, just a handful, and then we go in with 1 regular mug of basmati rice. Then to guarantee you beautiful, fluffy rice that works every time, I'm gonna go in with 2 mugs of water. So mix that up. And then I want a little bit of spice, right, as in heat spice. So I've got like 3 chilies here. Prick them with the tip of a knife, and then that will give a really, really subtle chili flavour to this. And one last thing, which I think is a brilliant curveball, poppadom. And when I was in Delhi last year, I saw so many variations of poppadoms. I'm gonna take 6 here, right? And you just smash them up, and it will suck up that moisture, a little bit like we use lasagna. So just mix up those poppadoms, pat it all down, and then turn that down to like medium, lid on top, and cook that for about 10 minutes. So this beautiful curry dish has had about 10 minutes. And now if you listen to it, you can hear it catching and crackling. Just push the veg and rice down. On a low heat, just let that fry up for about 10 minutes, and it's gonna give it a lovely crispy bottom. And then what I wanna do is kind of dress it up. On the same trip, when I learnt about how to use those dried poppadoms in such an interesting way, I also saw them take pomegranates and take mango chutney and put the 2 together. And the result was like the best hack ever. Simply mix it up, so good. So this has had 10 minutes now. I'm pretty excited that it's gonna be nice and crispy. So get yourself a plate or a platter, put it above the pan like that. Yes! Look at that. So what I love to do is get that yogurt and just kind of give a few splurges. We'll go in with those bits of mango chutney and pomegranate, and then just lots of lovely herbs. Get in there through the crust. Look at this. Yes! Ho ho. Wowzers. So this one is for all you avocado lovers out there. If this avocado happens to be quite high in fat, then could I use that as a fat source in cooking? And if that's the case, could I use it like butter or olive oil? Could I make pastry? I had a little play and I started really liking the results. I'm gonna make avocado pastry, and we're gonna turn that into the most amazing quiche with eggs and beautiful sweet peas and cheddar cheese and basil. So get yourself 2 lovely ripe avocados. Just rotate the avocado around the stone and join up the cuts. Give it a little tap and then just twist it apart like that. It will come out. So just squeeze it out of the skin. Now we need double the flour. 400 grams of self-raising flour. A nice pinch of salt for seasoning. And then just like flour and butter in regular pastry, rub together the avocado and the flour. As this comes together, as a normal pastry would, I'm just gonna take a little water and bring it together. 4 tablespoons go in. Just knead and push together the dough, hug it all together, clean the bowl, and there you have your dough. Like a regular pastry, let it relax. Put that in a nice clean cloth and let it rest for half an hour, and I can go and pick some salad. This lovely pastry has been resting. Just roll it out, try and be even, and then turn the actual pastry, not yourself. Keep rolling away from you, about ½ a centimetre thick. And you want it to be bigger than the tray that you're gonna cook it in. Roll this up. It's quite easy to manage. Then we'll take it over here and we'll unwind it like that. The weight of this overhang will keep that pastry in shape. Put a little hole here and there to let the steam out. And that goes in the oven for 10 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And that's the perfect amount of time for me to make the filling. We're gonna go even more green, frozen peas. I love them. 300 grams is all you need. And that goes in frozen to a liquidizer. We wanna flavor these peas. I like a bit of basil, so like half a bunch of soft basil leaves. Season with a little salt and pepper, and about 90 grams of the nicest cheddar cheese you can get your hands on. Then 6 large free-range eggs. And then simply whiz it up. Look at the colour. Beautiful. So look, that is the filling done, ready and raring to go. Let's just have a little check on our pastry. I'm actually very happy with that. Pour this filling straight in to this tray. Cook that in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just check on it. When that egg is set, we're good to go. I've got some sort of everyday leaves here. I've got a nice crunchy apple, and I always think that kind of brings this salad to life. And then cut it into little matchsticks. Then when it comes to the dressing, 3 parts olive oil to 1 part acid. I'll just use lemon today. Squeeze it through my hands to catch any pips. Get the apple in there. Dressing goes in, and then with these lovely salad leaves. Right, this is pretty much done. It looks amazing. Look at the colour. I'm gonna put the salad on top, and then I'll go back to that cheddar and use a speed peeler. Let's get in there. Cut through here, down the little sides like that, and then grab a slice. I love it. I mean, you can actually taste the avocado in the pastry. Let's take this now to my lot.
Mum, let me see.
Do you want to try some?
Mum, can I try some of that?
So this is one of my family's new favourite dishes. It's the ultimate sausage casserole. We've got the most amazing potato dumplings that are crispy on the top, really gorgeous and gooey on the bottom. We've got loads of veg in there, a beautiful gravy, crispy sausages. So let's do it. I've boiled 800 grams of nice Maris Piper potatoes. I've got 6 big, lovely Cumberland sausages here. In that same pan that we boiled the potatoes, just whack in a little bit of olive oil. Get that on a medium heat, take your sausages, and then gently fry these for about
10 minutes, give or take, until they're nice and golden. The next thing we're gonna do is gravy. I'm gonna be using carrots here. Split that down the middle and then into quarters. Just cut it into like 1 or 2 centimetre chunks. Now on the leek here, I'm going to just split them down the middle like that. Just roughly chop them. So look, we've got some nice colour on these sausages now. Put them on a little bowl or plate. The sausages will flavour the fats in the pan, and that's going to make the veggies really, really delicious. Fry this off for about 10-15 minutes. It will shrink down, it will be gorgeous. In the meantime, let me show you how to make these dumplings. Mash the potato, season it with salt and pepper, you know, fairly standard. But then, if we get some nice whole grain mustard, I'll take about a heaped teaspoon, and the mustard seeds, I think, really make this. It's like a little surprise. So look, once you've mixed all that together, roughly, chop it in half with your hand, in half again, and just kind of put it in your hand like a cricket ball. It's as easy as that. 4 lovely potato dumplings, ready and raring to go. So we're now caramelising. You can see it on the leeks and the carrots. So we'll go in with 1 heaped teaspoon of whole grain mustard. Then we're going to go in, wait for it, with a good old friend of mine, brown sauce. About 3 tablespoons. It smells incredible already. Then tins of mixed beans. Get that in there, juice and all. And then last but not least, we're going to go tinned tomatoes, right? So 1 whole tin goes in, just kind of squeeze the plum tomatoes in there to break them up. And then what you want to do is fill this up with water. That'll give you that little bit of extra moisture. We're going to bring that to the boil and simmer that for like 10-15 minutes until it looks scrumptious, right? Now, with our beautiful everyday Cumberland sausage, score little half-centimetre slices. So by scoring it like this, it looks cool. It creates more surface area, which is more crispy bits, more flavour, yes! And then on the underside, this also sucks up more flavour from this gorgeous sauce. Score both sides, take the sausage and just sink it in this sauce. Then we go in with the lovely potato dumplings, straight in there. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Just brush it with some oil to get it really, really golden. Now, instead of using the brush, just use some herbs. A bit of thyme, a bit of rosemary, pour in some oil and brush it. And that will not only make it go golden and gorgeous, it will absolutely flavour it. Take some of those thyme leaves and just put them in and around the pan. Now, I'll put it under the grill for about 10-15 minutes on high until golden and delicious. You hungry?
Yeah.
Look at this.
Whoa, how do you make the mountain thing?
They are potato dumplings. So let's just plate some up. You got your sausage in there. You got your veg in there. Absolutely beautiful. So a little bit of greens in there. Here we go. So let's have a little try of this.
Okay, I'm gonna go for it.
Go on, mate.
It's really nice.
So what do you reckon, Buds? Are you happy with that, mate?
Yeah.
When you're juggling work and family, you need a dish that's super simple to rustle up.
I want to make a curry, a really beautiful, fragrant curry, but I want to do it in such a way that it's surprising and exciting. And do you know what? It's just a handful of ingredients, right? I've got ginger garlic chili. There's always an onion or that family in the house, and then yogurt, rice, standard stuff. In the freezer, I always have sustainable prawns. These I've just put in a bowl of water for 5 minutes, defrosted them. They're fantastic. So I'm going to do an amazing rice cake, right? It's going to blow your mind. So 1 builder's mug of basmati rice into a pan, and then 2 of the same mug of water right up to the top. So in we go. Get that on full whack. Super easy. Season it with a little pinch of salt. So bring this to the boil, cook it for about 10 or 12 minutes until the water's cooked away, and when it has cooked away, turn it down to low for 5 minutes, then it'll go crispy and golden. Super simple. Let's get onto the curry. Take 4 cloves of garlic and finely slice it. And we're on to the curry pan. Put some olive oil in there and then go in with these wonderful, fragrant ingredients bit by bit. So garlic in, so about 1.5 chilies. Always check how hot they are, because they can catch you out every now and again. Nice thumb-sized piece of ginger. Just get a little spoon and scrape the skin off. And then just finely slice the ginger, just nice little chunks like that. So that goes into the pan. Look at the colours. Give that a little toss. And then spring onions. Just cut 1 bunch into like 2 centimetre chunks. Sprinkle that in.
right? Then we're gonna go in with a good friend, right? Mango chutney. You want a couple of nice tablespoons going in there. So, if you look at the rice, the water's now gone. You've got the little holes here, and now we turn it down low. 5 minutes, don't rush it, and you'll go from standard rice to rice cake. So I'm just gonna steal half of this into here, and then about 150 mils of water, and this will make the most incredible sauce. So let me go and whiz this up. Now, this is the time when we can go in with our prawns. I left just 1 or 2 prawns whole with their heads on. The rest, I just peeled the shell. A nice couple of handfuls in there. Look at that. I'm gonna wash my hands. So, the sauce goes in now. Couple of minutes, and that's good. So just take your rice and then just flip it like that. Can you see how crispy that is on the top? Right, the sauce. Turn the heat off here now, and then about 150 grams of yogurt like that. Just give it a little shake and just pour. Gorgeous. Easy prawn curry with a lovely rice cake. Get in there and just break it open. And if you look in this, you know, you've still kind of got the fluffiness and the steam stuff inside. You see how lovely and steamy that is? Going for the prawn. Look at the colours, guys. The colours are bonkers. It's just blooming brilliant. Come on, more sauce, more sauce. Let's just do a little bit of poppadom action. A little bit of salad on the side for a bit of crunch. That is a beautiful plate of prawn curry. Rice cake galore. Come on, let's do this. Mmm. Gentle, fragrant, loads of flavours. Prawn's lovely. It's joyful. Really, really joyful. I'm happy. So happy. Right, I'm gonna go and serve this to the family. I think they're gonna love it. This is like a little bit of sunshine in your life. I'm gonna show you how to make the most delicious pepper, prawn and chorizo bake with beautiful rice around it. It is so scrumptious. So in my freezer, I nearly always have prawns of some kind. Put them in a little cold water for like 15 minutes. They defrost, happy days. So I've preheated an oven to 220, right? If I cut halfway through this pepper, just run your knife around here, take the seeds out of your peppers, and then cut this into 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The first part of the story is very, very simple. Open the oven and go straight onto the bars, right? We just want to give it a really good roasting really quickly. So, a little bit of olive oil in a pan, and let's start the story with chorizo. About 50 grams, and in this chorizo is the key to a lot of the flavour. So it's not just sausage, it's got garlic, it's got herbs, it's got beautiful, you know, pimento in there, sweet cayenne, and get that into your olive oil. So I've got 4 cloves of garlic, which I want to finely slice, and I'm going to get that into the chorizo to let the sausage and garlic fry away. I want to get about half a bunch of parsley, finely slice those stalks, and they're going to go in with the chorizo and the garlic. So as this gets gorgeous and crispy, I'm going to get myself a bowl, and I'm going to remove this chorizo and garlic now. Importantly, leaving behind that amazing flavoured oil. So get yourself a mug. We're going to put in basmati rice. 1 mug of rice is perfect for 4 people. Into that oil, mix it up, let the fat go around that gorgeous rice. For the perfect rice, you want 2 mugs of boiling water. 1, 2. So let's go back to the oven now and get those peppers. The natural sugars in these peppers have been accessed, and that's going to make a massive difference in this bake. So take your little ring and just nestle it into your rice. So turn that off now, and this will go in the oven with a lid on top or tin foil for 15 minutes, right, to let it all plump up and get gorgeous. I'm going to now show you how to do the prawns. About 300 grams on the chorizo and the garlic. My family love prawns. And then finely grate the zest of half a lemon, and then I'll put the juice of half a lemon into this, right? So just give that a stir up. Lemon, garlic, chorizo, look at the colours, come on. So let that marinate while the rice cooks, and then I'll show you what to do next, because it's going to be amazing. Okay, look at that. Steamy, gorgeous and colourful. Then take those amazing prawns
and just kind of like sprinkle it over the top like that. Just push it into the rice, and we'll pop that back in the oven now for 5 minutes so we cook the prawns all the way through. Five minutes is up, and here we have it, my friends. A beautiful chorizo, prawn, and pepper bake. And then just take some of that lovely chopped parsley, sprinkle it on top. Let's go for it, come on. Get yourself a nice chunk of the pepper. So good. Nice little wodge of fresh yogurt. That with a nice little lemon, bit of parsley on top. Throw in a little bit of salad on the side. Right, let's have a little try. Hallelujah. The smell will draw in my teenagers and they will devour all of this in no time at all. They love prawns, garlic, chorizo, rice. Come on. Rocky Road. Naughty, very, very nice. I'm about to attempt to make a delicious Rocky Road, the easiest dessert, snack, whatever you want to call it. So what I have here is 500 grams of incredible chocolate. And look at that, just melted. Oh, hi, darling.
Can I have the swirly thing now?
The swirly will come up. So what we have here is a big bowl, 500 grams of chocolate. Now, this is 70% cocoa solids. It could be milk chocolate. It could be white chocolate. You can have fun with it, right? So just give that a little mix, River.
Shiny.
So what we're going to do is equal quantities of melted chocolate and stuff.
When can I have that?
What is it that you want?
I want the swirly thing.
The swirly thing. Okay. Can I have half of it?
No. Just let you can have this.
I get that and you get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So to 500 grams of melted chocolate, we're going to add 500 grams of stuff. I think the stuff is cool if it's not just sweet stuff. Otherwise, it's sweet on sweet on sweet, and you never have the contrast, right? So yes, we've got marshmallows here that you can put in, and they're cool. Popcorn, unsalted, obviously, go in. You can go through your cupboards, any odds and ends. Things like your digestive biscuits, we can put in. As indulgent as a Rocky Road is, you know, it's never going to be healthy, but you can make it full of the good stuff. Dried fruits, nuts, seeds. I personally love things like
Dad,
dried pineapple.
Mix it.
Can you mix it? Yeah, go on, mix it. You like the dried apricots, buds?
Yeah.
Just tear some apricots in there like that. You like that?
Yeah.
So you can go super kiddie, you can go a bit more grown up. If you want to spike it with a little dried chilli, it's quite nice with the chocolate, it works. Go on, crush that in. Don't eat it for yourself, crush it in.
Can I try a piece? I want to show Mum.
Okay, well, don't show Mum, because I'll get in trouble.
I want to see Mum.
You want to see Mum? Okay, see ya. So get yourself a little tray, some greaseproof paper, and then Buddy's going to pour it in here.
Ha! It's a bit heavy.
We're going to pat this down, just like tarmacking.
It does look a bit like tarmac.
It does look a bit. Right, once we've done that, I quite like just to put a little sprinkling of sesame seed on there like that. Put this in the fridge for about an hour, hour and a half until it goes nice and firm, and then we can cut it up and enjoy it. So, here we have our lovely Rocky Road, and look at that. I love it. Look at that. Oh, here we go. He's back. Perfect timing, young man, because this is the Rocky Road of dreams. Look at this beautiful big old pile.
Dad, can you pour some white chocolate on it?
Yeah, you mean just get on with it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Get on with it. Dad, can I have one now? I haven't tried it.
So there you go.
Oh, you want the top one?
A lovely Rocky Road.
Ginger's really nice actually.
Tell me, like, if you like it or not. Do you not enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I just want to
Show Mum. Okay. What about you, Puds?
I like it.
And you know what? If you do make a nice little batch, it's really lovely to whack in a little tin and give it away as a present. Rocky Road.
Naughty, but very, very nice. Right, who should we give these to?
Me.
When days are busy and you've got loads going on, it's easy to find yourself cooking up the same old dinners. But I've got an exciting little dish that you can knock out for your friends when you've not seen them in a while, to show them just how much you love them. My mate Gennaro's here, and a lot of his life he spent cooking for me. Now I'm going to cook for him. We're going to do a beautiful pasta dish. This meal is done and dusted in the time it takes to cook some linguini or some spaghetti. So we're doing a prawn linguini, right? That's where we're starting. So we're going to do prawns. We're going to do pancetta, so surf and turf. We're going to do a sauce with mascarpone. And, wait for it, red wine. A kiss of garlic and a little bit of pasta.
It's going to be so good that you will love to make it.
It's one of those pastas that I think everyone has got to master, because it's one of those things that just kind of hits the spot and it feels a bit posh. So, Gennaro, if you can just finely slice that into little matchsticks.
A little matchstick.
So 4 slices of pancetta. So here I've got 2 cloves of garlic that I've just finely sliced. What we'll do now, because this is a really, really quick meal, Gennaro, if you can just grab like 2 portions of pasta. So that is our timer, right? It's like 10, 11 minutes to cook the lovely linguini. Of course, you could use any pasta you've got. I quite like with linguini like a ribbon pasta, like a noodle-style pasta. Look at the way he puts it into that water. Beautiful.
Nice bit of salt.
So pasta's cooking.
Yeah.
I'll turn the pan on now, put that pancetta in the pan. I'll just kiss it with a little olive oil.
There it goes. You don't need very much. 4 thin slices, they're plenty.
So look, you can see the heat coming up in the pan, the fat's starting to render from that beautiful smoked pancetta. It already smells amazing. This is a perfect time to prep the prawns. Now, prawns we love. Everyone's buying prawns most of the time, frozen, fresh, cooked, uncooked, shell on. So I just want to show you a little preparation. About 160 grams. You don't need loads of prawns for this. So what I do, first of all, is just get the head, twist it. Most of the sweet, delicious flavour is in the head. So you can put that in there with the pancetta, right? That's where the flavour's at. Then, with this part, what I'll do is just peel off that shell. Very, very simple. And they have beautiful prawns in Italy, don't they, Gennaro?
It is the food. It comes so natural when you cook, because you cook with your heart.
I love it when you talk about food, Gennaro. Can you see how the prawn head is changing colour? So that's just a little bit of heat and it's gone orange. Now let me show you how to butterfly the prawn. Get a knife, run it very carefully down the back of the prawn, just like that. And then more than often, there's a little vein in here that you can remove. Just pull that out, and then that's butterflied, ready and raring to go. At the same time, for sweetness, deliciousness, texture, and flavour, I'll take the rest of the prawns and I'll finely chop them, because it's going to stick to the linguini in the most beautiful way. One thing is for sure, and Gennaro taught me this, is you do not want to overcook prawns. They're really, really sensitive. They cook so quickly. So this is where it gets exciting. Gennaro, give those prawn heads a little squeeze. Look at the juice come out of those prawn heads. Just have a look at that.
Just a little squeeze on top. You can see, look, there we go. Oh my goodness me.
So bacon, crispy. You got the juices from the prawns, happy days. Then we're gonna go in with the garlic. Now we can kind of turn the heat of the pan up a little bit. Now let's get this party going. Gennaro, how long on that pasta?
Nearly ready. 1 more minute.
So I'll take these whole prawns and put them in that lovely fat. You can see how that little preparation with the butterflying opens the prawn out. It looks better, it takes on the flavour better, and it cooks quicker.
Really smell nice.
So I want to do a blushing prawn linguini, right? So I'm going to use some red wine, right? Which often people say white wine. But if you go to Italy, they use red wine in really creative ways. So as the pan, you can tell is hot, right? See it bubbling and sizzling. Now I'm going to go in with some nice Italian red wine. Half a glass.
Wow.
Very importantly, I do not want that to be winey. I do not want the wine to overtake the deliciousness of the prawns. So we're going to cook it away. The alcohol will go, and then you're just kind of left with the love and the care from the winemaker, the kind of flavour of like oaky, gorgeous, ripe fruits, and the sort of flavour of like barrels and love and care.
The sweetness, the love and care. You say so good.
You taught me.
No, but this is pure love, passion in a pan.
Now it's going to get exciting again, because now we go in with mascarpone. Now mascarpone is a very famous Italian cheese.
Of course it is. It's a cream cheese. It's so natural, so good.
And then go in with the chopped prawns. Right? They do not need that much time. Right? Literally, the residual heat from the pasta will be enough to cook these. And look how the mascarpone and the wine is marbling together. Now, I will give this pan to Gennaro.
My goodness, look at that. Proper al dente. Oh,
So what Gennaro is doing now, very stylishly, is emulsifying the fat from the mascarpone and from the pancetta with the water from the cooking of the pasta. By doing that, you get this incredible kind of light, oozy pasta sauce. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan. Now, a lot of people say you should never put Parmesan
Rubbish.
with seafood. Complete rubbish. Go on, tell him, Gennaro.
It is rubbish. Why not? If you like a Parmesan, why not? It goes ever so well.
And then a nice big handful of peppery, gorgeous rocket.
Oh, that is ready.
Look at that. Gennaro is the chief pasta tosser. And then from
There it
this
goes.
part of the story, just grab some lovely tongs. Look at the colour, guys. Come on. The way that that blushing sauce just sticks to the pasta. Look at the juice. Look, the juice that's coming. Yeah, go on. Juice,
love
juice,
it.
juice. Whole prawns, whole prawns. And then it's quite nice just to finish it with just a few small rocket leaves. That, my friends, it's a dish. Surf and turf linguini. Prawn linguini with smoky pancetta, mascarpone and red wine. Enough talking, my friend. Let me just plate up. Gennaro, that's for you.
Love you.
What I really love about this is the use of the red wine.
Buon appetito.
Silky.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. You know what? A lot of people would have thrown those prawn heads in the bin. You get kind of that depth of flavour like an amazing sort of seafood soup. The prawns are really sweet, aren't they, Gennaro?
They are indeed. I don't even talk. I love it.
How nice is this? Got me best mate, nice day, cooking outside, lovely little pasta dish, heavenly. I dedicate that pasta to you.
No, bless them.
Salute!
Salute, give me the more pasta.
This recipe is something that I make in my family every single month at least. We love it. We always go back for seconds and maybe even thirds. It's a classic minestrone. So it starts here in a big pan. We're going to get that on a nice medium-high heat. We're going to kick it off with 4 rashers of smoked bacon. That smokiness is like a secret ingredient. So in this pan, nice big one, we go in with some olive oil. We sprinkle in the bacon. Look what's happening straight away. We're creating golden little nuggets of smoky bacon. That's called caramelization, right? And that is gonna happen with the veg and everything that you put in here until you add the wet stuff. Let's start off with some lovely carrots. This recipe is brilliant at embracing what you've got in your fridge. You know, you might have a bit of swede or turnip, I don't know what you've got. It could be some Savoy cabbage, white cabbage, kale, right? All of this stuff can be welcomed into the wonderful world of minestrone. So I just chunk up the carrots, it's all good. A couple of garlic cloves, I'm just gonna roughly chop into the pan. If you look in the pan, by the way, as the bacon gets golden, then I go in with the garlic. I'm using bay leaves, dried or fresh, it doesn't matter. Of course, you could put rosemary in there, beautiful flavors. I'm gonna go in with the carrots, just mix it around. It smells amazing already. I'm gonna use celery, just like a couple of little stalks. Let's get the onion in. 2 small onions or 1 big one. Your cup of garden soup or minestrone should reflect what is available to you. And it doesn't matter whether that's frozen or down the market. as that is frying up, this is kale, purple and green. They're so beautiful, aren't they? What I like to do is take these tough stalks off, chop them up, and get them in there in the base. So nothing goes to waste. Finely slice these, all in there. Beautiful. So I've got a Savoy cabbage here, so you can give them a nice little wash. These outside leaves are perfect for the job. Again, I'll cut the stalks out and slice them up. Literally nothing is going to go to waste. Now, look, that's what you're talking about. Can you see all the caramelisation happening there? So I'm going to go in now with a little cheat. So, of course, I'd love to use a beautiful, chicken broth. I haven't got one, right? So I'm using a little organic vegetable stock cube. Sprinkle that in. And now we've earned that colour, which is big flavour, I'm going to get 2 ingredients in. First is going to be some nice tinned tomatoes. So we're breaking the frying now, and now we're going into boiling, okay? So I'll fill this up with some water as well. In with the water, and then I'm going to use some butter beans, nice and chunky, and then cannellini beans. So I've used butter beans and cannellini beans, but you can swap out any bean you like. You can get tins of mixed beans as well, which are absolutely brilliant. And then onto the cabbage. So I'll just roll it up like a kind of cigar and just finely slice it like that. So that will go into our pan. Beautiful. Then the kale. Look at that. And then what I like to do is top up this soup with some boiling water, about a pint. Let that simmer for a couple of minutes with a lid on top. And then let's talk about pasta. So I tend to put all my odds and ends normally in a little jar, but then what I like to do in this soup is just get a little tea towel and pour the pasta into the tea towel. I just take up the sides and give them a ruddy good banging, right? Go over to our beautiful soup, hold it like this, and in it goes. So all you've got to do now is just simmer this for the time that it takes to cook the pasta. It will thicken slightly, but that is going to be a really nice, hearty bowl of minestrone, and it's going to taste gorgeous. Okay, so it's had about 10-15 minutes. The pasta's cooked, and it's thickened, but it's still nice and brothy. Look at that, beautiful. So let's get a nice big old spoon in the bowl. Really, really good. Little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. Or cheddar cheese, of course, if you haven't got it. This is a dish that I think people love. Look at that, pasta's brilliant. Little bits of bacon. Absolutely gorgeous. If you love sausage and mash, then this could be a new family favourite in your home. So first job, in a pan, a little bit of olive oil, and on a kind of medium heat, get those lovely sausages in there. And I want these to be golden all the way around. We're going to use leeks, but also curveball apple. Peel these, chunk these up, and then as these sausages are getting nice and brown, we're going to get our apple straight into that, and we want a little bit of colour. Yes. Now, my missus doesn't like onions, so I use leeks a lot. So, put the tip of your knife in and go all the way down the length. Roughly slice it up to be the same size as the apple. So just take the sausages out now, and the leeks all go in. Just give it a little swig of water, just to stop that frying process. A little pinch of salt, and a little pinch of pepper. And now turn that down to like a medium heat. 20 minutes with a lid on. The next job is the mashed potatoes. Over here, I've got 1.2 kilos of Maris Piper potatoes, peeled and boiled and drained. Just 2 tablespoons of flour, salt and pepper. Mash this together. Then we need to divide it into 1/3 for the top and 2/3 for the bottom and the sides. This bit I will put over here with my sausage. And then this 2/3 here, I'll put in that tray. A little kiss of oil, and give it a little rub up around the sides. In we go with the potato, and then just use your hands to just pat it out, almost like a type of pastry. And then as you get to the sides, up we go. Super easy, super rustic. The leeks, once they've had about 20 minutes and they're really tender, We're gonna kind of amp this up now. We're gonna go in with 3 teaspoons of English mustard. Right, that won't be hot, by the way. It will just give it a nice, big, sort of bold flavour. Then we're gonna go in with flour again, just a couple of tablespoons, and that will be the thickening agent for this sauce. A little thyme, just pick that off the stalk. Once the flour is all mixed in, add the milk, about 600 millilitres. And now go in with the sausages. Let's save one of those back. Slice these into 1 centimetre slices. So this will feed 4 people very generously. So let that simmer for 5 minutes, and let's think about the topping. Get a little bit of greaseproof paper, put a bit of oil on here, rub it, and then I'll take this potato and press it down again and again and again, like that. It's about 1 centimetre thick. You want it to be slightly bigger than this tray. Go in with that amazing sweet leek, caramelised apple, and sausage casserole. Look at that. Then simply pick up your greaseproof paper, flap it over the top like that, and then unpeel it. We want to seal it to kind of trap all that lovely goodness. So get yourself a fork and your flour. Just dip it in the flour to stop it sticking to your fork. And that just seals it nicely, just as if it was pastry. Get a knife and kind of cut down like that. Now there is 1 sausage left. So slice it, and then I'm gonna push this into the most beautiful potato. These will get nice and golden and crispy. Now that will go in the oven for 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And then about 5 minutes before the end, I'll put some of that thyme on top just to crispen up, and it will look the business. Oh, yes. Come on. Chunks of sausage, creamy, leaky sauce. I've got some greens and some peas. I love a bit of mustard as well. Let's just get in it. Come on, what's not to love? Sausage and mash, but not as you know it.